Hello, everybody. How are y'all doing tonight? I'm Rhonda. I'm from Texas. Rhonda's lovely Sparks is here. We're gonna party. Come on, baby, get on it. Come on, baby, get on it. When you come over to my house, you're guaranteed a party. Even if we're talking about Mike Tyson slapping that crap out of Jake blah, blah, blah. And even if we're talking about politics or the Eagles beating Commanders, which it wasn't really hard for me to pick who I was wanting to win. It was actually the Commanders, and I'm not a Commodes fan. No. But I definitely want to see the Eagles win because they have too much potential going for them, and we can't have that. No, we can't have that, people. And we're forced to have it. We're forced. We're having to digest it. But I kind of did prepare myself for the Cowboys and our graceful way of kind of leaving the stage, but still proud and all that, and a bag of chips. Hello, Daydream. Daydream. Hi there, baby. She's my baby. Oh my God, Nadia listed 90s too. My two nieces made it to the room. Oh my, love you, love you. I love you. Welcome back. I've been here almost every night this week. Probably is every night. It's a proud accomplishment. It feels really good how people inspire me to come back, and because like all of us, sometimes I think for me, I feel accomplished, and then I get in this rut. We were just on the phone video chatting. Oh, that sounds so much fun. So great. That's Gen Z out there video chatting. Sometimes when I'm live and I'll say something like hanging clothes on the line, or, picking up my phone and dialing it, then I realize, oh, probably there's no dialing anymore. And it's so funny because I want to buy a surprise phone for the house. I want to surprise my hubby, for my hubby actually. And I want to surprise him with a old-fashioned antique vintage phone that actually works, and where he could do his little, and I have just the perfect place for it right there in front of me, going down our hallway. And if you make a right, it goes into the guest bedroom and bathroom, and there's this little lip that's out, that I could put that phone so perfectly right there where it would not be in anybody's way. I thought, ooh, that would be so good. Yeah, I haven't finished my hair. I had to finish my hair. I was watching the game tonight. I was braiding my hair, and I stopped to get ready for the show, and then I'll start back up again while I'm live streaming and being with my friends, being with you all. And Daydream says, yes, we did. Nodulista doesn't post videos or pictures of herself on the internet, which is very understandable. And I would never prompt you to, because she is so beautiful and gorgeous. Yes. And Nodulista 90 says, oh, my Daydream, I love you. You're gorgeous too. And thank you for always respecting me. And that is cool when you could respect each other's wishes, right? Even, being a friend, we're good at inspiring each other. And we're good at pushing one another towards, being better, because we want to save the life of our sisters or brothers, But at the same time, being a friend too is sometimes you just don't know it all. and if your friend can help you with, the reason why and things and what happens, we end up getting having empathy and then really understanding, because our best foot forward is always making sure that we can really love our friends and respect them. I'm gonna tell you something. I'll share with you before I start this conversation. Of course, you saw my green face on my thumbnail. The willfully ignorant that I want to talk about. And I think, without a doubt, not that I think, but I know it applies to not just politics, but let's say living is political. Living is political. I mean, if we buy a snack, we are paying taxes. Hey, Nodulissa said, Daydream pushes me to be more confident and encourage me through my trauma healing. She is the confident part of me. Look, I think that's great. Let me tell you something. I didn't show my picture of who I look like. And I've been on the internet since the 90s. Okay? I was like in my 30s in the 90s. And I did not show my picture until after I got married, which was 2013. My husband and I dated for a year. We on the phone conversations for a whole year. And then we were, which was 2011, 2012, we got engaged for a whole year. And then the third year, 2013, we got married. And I started showing a picture of me here and there. And the reason why I stood strong by that decision, because I've been on the internet since the 90s, right? It's because I didn't want to reveal myself to a whole bunch of people who I really didn't love. And then they didn't love me. Why would I want to share something so personal with strangers? It's a bunch of yip yaps in that day. A bunch of yippity yappities. I'm like, I don't want to give up that part of me, that whole part of me. I wanted to keep a lot of things very private, own that, and protect that. I didn't need everybody peering at me, staring, lusting, making fun of me, whatever that people do out there. I didn't want to share that with strangers. So after I got married, I made sure he saw me first. And then I moved forward and say, well, okay. Well, when I post this, it will be about me. It'll be about me first, showing you someone who's important to me. So Daydream says, of course, Nodulista, you and I are very much alike, both physically and personality-wise. But I am the more outspoken part of you, and you are the more timid. Isn't that the perfect friendship? Usually, I mean, look at Gail and Oprah Winfrey. They are alike in a lot of ways. Gail King and Oprah Winfrey, but they are also different too, which makes it so unique, and it keeps both of them, grounded. And it's so funny because when I would see Gail King talk to Oprah Winfrey, and I'm like, Gail King is, got that really strong mind. I'm not saying Oprah does it, but she does. And then Oprah's like, okay, Gail, yeah, you're right. Even though Oprah's strong-minded too, but you could just see what you are, Daydream and Nodulista was talking about as far as respect for each other. And respect goes a long way. Respect and patience. Respect and patience. I want to share with you too, while we're talking about this, that my husband and I, when I woke up, like I said, I was up all night, having a ball doing my live, working in my website, my YouTube channel, and scheduled a rerun for Saturday because I did put an announcement on my community tab that I will be, probably posting a lot of the reruns, so I can, probably once a month do a newbie, but do, get the old, incredible movies that I've done in the past where not everybody has seen them. They're just sitting in the playlist. So I'm refurbishing them and I'm refreshing them and repurposing them and bringing them back out because it's the best of material. And that will give me some time to also focus on doing what I do best with my channel. And that's coming with creating like a new YouTube thumbnails, which I've gone into an animation of the likeness of me and bringing that out and having some serious topics because we know that there are all kinds of animation out there. It used to be in my day, animation was like 99% children friendly cartoons, right? And now they have adult cartoons and porn animation, and it breaks my brain because I'm like, really? Because I still, as a child of the '60s, I want to call them cartoons. Who is calling me? Hello? Who's calling? Oh, okay. No, thanks for calling. I'm gonna let you know we've already had someone to work on our machine. No, that's okay. I just want to make sure everything was okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Okay. So speaking of that phone call, I thought it was strange anyway this time of night, but I do want to share. I was online one day and I was like, I heard my washing machine click back on because my washing machine, when the lid locks and it has that click sound of the washer machine lid that locks, click, click. Well, it was doing that continuously. And it wasn't going through a cycle. It's a General Electric Hot Point, heavy duty washing machine. Really good, by the way. And somehow it just stopped, but it was still making the clicking sound. So I ended up calling a place where I had this great business relationship with at an appliance place that was here in my old town for over in their family's name for over 100 years, right? It's like 120 years now because back then it was 100 years, and then I haven't been with them for a while, so I think like 130 years now. So I called them up because I was an account executive way back in the early 90s, and I had worked for a newspaper, and I had over like close to 3,000 accounts. And what I did, my job was like selling advertising, newspaper advertising to businesses. Well, what's amazing is that, like everything I touch, I take that extra mile. I go that extra mile for people. And I was the first account executive that was actually able to get Walmart to buy print advertising. Print, Walmart always did like flyers, right? Inserts, right? That's what they call them. Never print. And when I met them in person, I spoke to them, the manager of Walmart, because Walmart is big on making sure that they contribute to, you know, a certain amount to the underserved. And I don't like using the word minorities. I mean, I just try to evolve underserved, disenfranchised businesses, and I think with me being a black woman, and not that this was somebody favorite taking me and then making me favorite over someone else. I'm hearing this BS, and I'm going to talk about in my life about the willfully ignorant. Yeah, I have my little green face, little red cheekbones, and I'm like, in my thumbnail. So when I met with him in person, they liked me because not because I was just black. Probably had nothing to do with it. I have great talking skills, right? Skills, skills. Forgive my southern charm, my accent. I have one, just a little. I don't have a whole lot of it, thank God. But when I met with him, I said, you know what? I believe in what I'm selling, or I wouldn't be working for this place. Hi, Mike Aldana, ignorant people. Yes, it is. I'm going to come out and say it. I've always been saying it, but this is going to be it, about that a lot. So when I went and met with him, I said, I told him, I said, a lot of people, they like the inserts, but if they notice that inserts, if that's in your budget, that's why I told the manager at Walmart, because they were big spenders and I made a lot of commission. But they heard me and I said, if you sell an insert and your insert is automatically printed by your corporate office. I said, I'm a composer, of art. I can compose you a double page newspaper ad. I could build it because after I build it, put my ideas together and compose whatever, and then give that. I know I sound like I'm talking Ebonics here. No, you're not. Ignorant. It is. It's ignorant people out there. That I told them that Marshall has a unique culture. I said, what I could do, you can pick pieces or parts of in your store that you feel is what you would call a door dasher. And back then, door dasher pretty much mean if you have an advertisement that says something like, come in and sign up and get a free TV, or if you buy a sofa set, you'll get, no payments no interest for 3 months. Or if you just come enter the store, you get a free knife set, right? They're called door busters, actually, not door dashers. Door busters, right? So that was in that day. That's what they called it. So with the door busters, I told him that. He goes, yeah, you're right. I have a lot of stuff I need to get off the shelf. Because a lot of people, you don't know what stores have unless you walk in and then you see Target has actually a 99-cent aisle. It's like, well, I'll be darned. So he promoted from his store these doorbusters to get people to get the traffic in the store. And it complemented the local store, the local culture, because almost all their advertisements is inserts, flyers that's in the newspaper. So he loved that about me, and he probably spent easy $20,000, which I got commission from that a month, because color costs more expensive and full pages are expensive. And he loved it. And I said, I tell you what I can add to that. Is how I got him too. You can buy and feature your ad into a Sunday paper, which is more viewers. And Wednesday is our grocery paper, which is our grocery coupons and sales and things like that, groceries. So I said, I got with my manager first, got approval. And I said, then you could run this same ad with no changes. No changes. And let's give you 50% off. That was a choker. Because the point is, we wouldn't have the advertising from Walmart if it wasn't for me. The print advertising, period. So might as well sell them. If it's $20,000 worth a month, would we want to lose $10,000? That's crazy. That's stupid, right? So, and then let's say the next Sunday he started becoming more involved. and the artwork that he would provide me for my composing department to build the ad. So he started becoming more engaged and like, here, Rhonda, here's a shovel, art, because Walmart has their own book of advertising clip art. Now today, guess what? You could pick it up through the computer now, right? But back then, it was cut out clip art, and they could scan it, and so he could say, oh well, we got this bike, we have 10 bikes out here. The first blah 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 people can get it for $100 each. Or we're doing a drawing for $1,000 free groceries for Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying? So he could tweak it. It wasn't like those already printed inserts you could just stick in there. The Dallas Morning News Sunday edition would jam pack with their newspapers. Yes, Sunday. Still is today, Sundays are the higher viewership. Back in that day, every day you have a grocery day, you have a coupon day, you have an automotive day, you have the holidays you feature and special supplements and things. And that's what I did. And I ended up resigning to work for a nice floral shop. I ended up being over gift baskets and wedding planning. Because I was tired of the politics at the job. Because when I had a fax machine at home, and just like I do now, some habits don't change. I would stay up all night long faxing to potential people who would want to buy from me, right? Out of New York. It was mesothelioma, which is a form of cancer. Those ads, people from outside of my town, then they'll send me a fax or something and say, yeah, we want to buy this, we want to buy that. So the politics bullshit of it is that the manager of accounting, they were fussing because, when they get advertisement that's outside of the town and they go, well, this is not an account that you actually worked. They just happen to be in your territory, then you're not going to get paid commission. I'm like, yeah, look, I have a printout, a proof where I faxed and contacted them and connected mesothelioma. I had to see the word so I could pronounce it. Mesothelioma. Thank you. And I gotta do my hair, by the way. This is not my style. I started right here. I gotta do this braid, and then I gotta do that braid. So this is not a style. I gotta finish braiding my hair. I got a great show for y'all. So I'm moving right along, just letting you know how that worked out, and it was pretty cool. The front of my I have like oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, olive oil, all of that from my hair that's draining down my neck. And what I do, I just massage it into my skin. Yeah, you got all night long, all night, all night. Yeah, yes. Thank you so much, everybody. And the crowd goes wild. We have a great show tonight, a great live stream for you. You know me, baby, I got the juice. What really inspired me today, because it's so much information out there, what really inspired me was just, not in a great way, but just people who are now, it seems to be trending, that you see also Black Trump supporters getting turned away, are Black MAGA supporters getting turned away by MAGA. They were online, they have Facebook and internet and Twitter and TikTok, and the numbers were either high for Black Republicans or Black MAGA and Black independents, because a lot of independents went Trump. And you see their numbers when Trump, I can't say it. I can't say he won the election. Okay. When Kamala didn't win, then there seems to be this influx of Black Republicans Black MAGA, it's Black MAGA, and Black Republicans who seem like, oh yeah, Trump still got the momentum, right? Trump still loves me. Trump still wants me. The crowd, the culture, everybody in the circle still wants me. Hey, Coyote. Hello, Coyote. Welcome back. Yeah, and so what I was talking about is the momentum. You see that Kamala didn't win, Trump won, and you have Black Republicans that are just butthurt because MAGA is calling them names, calling them trash, calling them the N-word, and doing all this stuff. And like, we just used you for your vote. Not that I'm smiling because I like the person receiving the disappointment and pain. I'm smiling because that's going to be what a lot of my talk is about, but mostly about just people who are willfully ignorant when it comes to Republicans who went out there, and Black Republicans mostly, and we got some regrets also from white Republicans, and you have Asian Republicans in all cultures, but I'm speaking about some examples I have, which is also from Black Republicans. And the reason why I hold them accountable on a lot of things is because what it was so crazy is that Trump was in their face, the Black MAGA supporters, and telling them to their face, I'm racist. And they're like, yay, blacks for Trump, blacks for Trump. And he just told you he don't like your ass. And he just called you out and said, over there in the crowd, I see you because there's the light on you. But if there was no light on you, I can't see your dark black ass. Pretty much that's what he meant. It's what he meant. It's what he meant. It's what he meant. He did. It's like people, he's telling you, he's not apologizing for it. He ain't going to ever apologize for it. He's proud. And I got some videos to show you that's going to blow your effing mind. I got a video with an Asian guy who is having dinner with a very wealthy white man who is telling him to his face why he voted for Trump and why he can't stand Black people. And he made it transparent and he made it clear. And the Asian, I was like, whoa, go ahead, Asian. Yeah. Because I love everybody who is not trying to put their knee on my neck or someone I love. I don't want your knee on my effing neck. Don't we all feel like that? I didn't do, when I voted, I wasn't narcissistic. I wasn't a narcissist. It's the most unselfish vote that I put in for Kamala because I'm feeling also for other people, but for me, okay, Social Security and the attacks of these crazy nuts, because Republicans are calling them nuts too, okay? But I wanted to expand on about a lot of shocker. There are Black people that just seems to be so shocked about them being turned away from MAGA. They are deliberately being pushed out. They're like, I'm tired of seeing y'all's faces. I've had to tolerate you. We needed your vote. We got it. You ain't doing nothing for us. I don't want you at my dinner table. Get the out. And this is true, by the way. I'm not Fox. I don't do those kinds of news programs. I'm not MSNBC either because I need the crew, makeup crew, hair crew, and I'm on live right now and my hair's not done. So I like matching colors in your setup, Rhonda. Do you? So what's the matching colors? Tell me, my love. I don't even know. What did I do? Call it out, baby. Let me hear Coyote. Coyote says, I like your matching colors in your setup. Are you saying the white roses and my dress and my natural hair and my Dallas Cowboy cap? Are you talking about what I have here? So thank you if that's what you're talking about. And let me catch up on what Michael Donna said, my brother from another mother. Also, blue and black and white in your clothes, flowers and all. Thank you, sweetheart. You know what's amazing is how you pick that up. It's my fat dress. It's a house dress that I love the lace. I just love the embroidery in it and all that. Okay. So I'm gonna read what Michael Donna said. Thank you too, my love. Michael Donna says Trump's already throwing down the gauntlet with his controversial cabinet nominations. T. Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, and Gates for Attorney General. Oh, the most outlandish, the better I feel. Because Trump was like that too. When he had his reality show. He was running for president then. He was running for president a long time before that. But I'm saying he was running for president by stealing people's ideas on his reality show and thinking, wow, this is going to be great material. If I get the opinions of the contestants on my show, I could utilize their opinions, whatever they are, and use that a part of my campaign. Yes, he did. Because I used to watch a show. I didn't watch it from a fan position. I just watched it because I love watching strategic things like Survivor and Big Brother, Amazing Race. I just love those shows. I haven't seen Amazing Race in years. So those are some really people who are unqualified. And he seems to really get the momentum in his favor when it comes to picking people who gives emotions a reason to react. He knows that. He knows. And he knows that the science behind human behavior, when you react enough, I will beat you down until you just agree. Y'all, I've always been just excited about using my brain when I worked in an office for over 30-something years, different jobs. And when I worked in those jobs, man, I had it down to a science when it came to figure it out. A lot of those wusses and coworkers and stuff. I mean, all of them weren't, but most of them were, because I was the only Black woman in almost every job that I had. I was. I'm not saying that the white people were mean to me. I probably had better results from having white bosses than Black bosses. That's the truth. How ironic is that? It's the truth. Because sometimes you see, a lot of the Black bosses, they were kind of like be over managerial and they will like discriminate against you worse. So you see that white people who I had experiences with, they seem to have been very secure, more secure, didn't care about me wanting to grow in my job. They didn't really care about me and my ideas. They loved to put me in a position of authority. And they didn't care about me growing because they were so confident that I wasn't going to be their CEO or a manager. But I was non-threatening to them. And they were cool. And I was like, okay, well, just you give me my raise that I've earned at least twice a year and all my benefits and pay me on time, I'm good too. Just let me clock the fuck out and just go home to something that matters more to me. So Michael Don says some blacks don't even like those within their own community. Exactly. I'm an outcast to a lot of black people. I didn't say all of them, but I am. Not to put out stereotypes or a new aha moment or understanding or, getting people to sympathize with me. I mean, that is something that happens to every race. Every race. That we have Republicans don't like their white counterparts. A lot of them MAGAs. The MAGAs can't stand the elephant. They hate it. There's brokenness everywhere, right? Because you got people who are striving for greed. They're striving for, they're very insecure and it's just very messed up. But I think when you can come to the middle, then you're that person who becomes a person who's like me. I feel like that there's some people that's like me where I live and where I grew up, but it doesn't seem to stand out enough because those smart, intelligent black people are working and busy helping others. They're busy. They're either married or they're not married and they're going to college or they're doing something with their life. So they ain't got no time for that, right? But it seems to be that there's more likes to people who ain't doing nothing. The ones who are just getting more of the likes. Just saying. And you could read between the lines what that means. I don't need to call it out. So Coyote says, I like matching colors in your setup. And then Coyote says, blue and black and white in your clothes, flowers and all. Thank you, baby. Thank you so much. And my hair, it's not done. It's poof, which ends up being kind of cute though. Just gotta round it up. And I think that probably could be a style. Oh, keep flattering me, Coyote. Keep flattering me. I need it. I need it. I know it's genuine. Thank you. Coyote says, LOL, me too, Rhonda, from waiting tables to sales to office, right? Oh my God. We have white people that can get an education and apply to be a police officer. And just because this white person has an education, is an educated police officer, then he's an outcast because probably most of those people are police officers that don't have no education. And you got people making fun of people in trailer houses versus brick houses because they go, you know what? I live off the land. You stupid because you got this house and you're paying all the taxes and I'm more freer than you because I'm a naturalist. I mean, I know cultural disparities. I'm in Texas, for God's sake. Most of my friends were white. Oh, that sounded cliche. I'm sorry, but it's true, y'all. Not a whole lot of black people. I'm okay. Shit, let me tell you. I've been to the Caribbean islands. I stayed there for like 30 days. I ended up staying longer because after the hurricane hit, I stayed to help. I went to St. Lucia. And of course, I flew into Martinique and I went to Barbados and I went to Trinidad and Tobago, right? So I stayed there. It was back in the 90s. And my daughter was a little girl. And so when I went there, I'm just telling you the truth. I'm telling you the truth. Like, holy shit, look at the black people. Wow. I'll do like Mark. And Mark ended up showing up at the Star in Dallas. And he sees the Cowboys in the middle of the field and he goes, oh, there's my people. And he starts running. Well, I started finding out that, they're my complexion. A whole nother thing, baby. I've never seen. Okay. Here's my towel. It's dirty. It's not filthy, but it's a towel that I use to do my hair. So let me show you something. You ready to see this? And you think I'm kidding, and I'm not. So when I went to St. Lucia and I went to Gros Islet and went to the shopping centers, do you see this here? Do you see how that looks? My cat is calling for the other cats to play. No, you're supposed to be going to sleep. Okay, see that? That's an actual size of a true blunt in St. Lucia. See how that's rolled up? And all you saw in the dark was red on this end. Y'all, I'm not going to lie to you. Dreads are like dragging, which was beautiful. It was like shocking to me because I was in a culture shock. I'm like, wow. I tried not to stare. And back then I was married to a lousy mother humper. Thank God we got a divorce. But I just want to tell you that I was walking around, you know me, I'm smiling. I'm like, hi. And that man back then was like, don't show your mouth. Stop smiling. Stop smiling at everybody. Well, I didn't know, Coyote and Michael Donna. I didn't know that my face and my teeth resembles, in their culture, a mermaid, a goddess. And the mermaid was a sexual goddess. So my big eyes, and the gap resembles a highly sexual goddess. I was like, what a loser fucker. Want to still smile. Even though I was so naive, I mean, I didn't want to frown. But I was a person that's from America that didn't know the culture. You know what I'm saying? And that could have been to them an invite to do some things to me because it was pretty mighty wild. And too wild for me. And I'm like, let me go find my circle. Let me go find my place. Didn't have to be necessarily America. Didn't necessarily have to be Africa. But I could pick, by using my common sense, who I felt could be a good friend. But I knew when I smelled weed everywhere, and every effing night, bass was pumped up, the music and the bass was pumped up to the 100th power. It's like, damn, and dominoes cracking everywhere. Was that exciting? Yeah. Could I live with that? Hell no. And everywhere you walk, you're either walking up or down. And I didn't know any better. I didn't know that monkeys were like free out there. So they just get their poop and they could throw it at you, which I didn't have that experience, but it happens a lot. Or here I am from Texas. We love shade trees. So we like sitting under the tree with lemonade. So I made the mistake sitting under a coconut tree, and that mother blanker fell down right beside me, which could have cracked my skull. So there was a lot of culture things going on. Most of the religion and culture there did not believe in deodorant, and I didn't think. I'm gonna tell you, when I smelled a lot of that out there, I really missed it. I missed the smell of fresh onion here in America. I'm just saying. It was so stuck up in my nostrils, it like messed up my eyeballs. It was it's crazy. And I'm not saying that to belittle the people. I'm just saying, for me, what I saw, and I thought I was on one of these cute carnival commercials where I could just run with my toes in the sand. It wasn't that everywhere because I stayed with the locals. I learned some of Me Too, Rhonda, waiting tables, right? Michael Dow says some just don't know any better. And then Coyote's like, I learned to not judge people and try to walk in their shoes. Most are just like me and you. Exactly. And Michael Dow says, Snoop Dogg style blunt. Look at your emojis. Wow. And Coyote says, bones and spades. Oh my God. It was an amazing experience. And for the most part, I enjoyed the food. I missed hamburgers because hamburgers are different there, but you really miss Cheetos and hamburgers and cream sodas and all those tons of snacks that we have here in America. But that just was the thing. I really was able to get a lot of sustenance out of being there. It was really beautiful. Don't want to live there, but it was beautiful. It was too extreme for me when it came to probably allowing grown teenagers right around with the tops, and that bothered me a lot because you had nasty ass men watching them on the beach. It's a culture there, for them, they're looking and staring, and for us, we would be, oh, what? Girl, go put a shirt on. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of stuff there. But when I was talking about culture, nude beaches, and then it was minors who were girls who were running around because that beach was at their backyard, and they were just playing. They were just playing. It's their home. Well, really, and thank you so much for engaging with me. It's going to be a really good show. And I know we're like 46 minutes into Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. I didn't introduce myself earlier. My name is Rhonda. I'm Rhonda, and I'm from Texas. Rhonda's Lovely Sparks. Welcome, and smash that like button, and also hit that bell so when I post something, that you could be the first to get some really good stuff, some hot stuff right off the press. Press that subscribe button, because also what's interesting, I didn't know they did this, but I looked at my analytics and I ended up finding out, wow, uh, there's analytics on people who click that bell. So I'm like, okay. And my Galdana saying nude beaches. I had to say it again. Okay. And then also what I wanted to point out too was you can't save everybody. I remember I remember being in my political group, which is a whole separate thing than what I have here, because I've been a member, a moderator, an owner of a group owner of that group that I put together, which is only to a few great minds, right? I have people who used to work for the CIA. I have people who used to work for Bush there. I have people who used to work for Clinton. I have just really some really great people. And then some people, I just can't mention their name because what that means, it's a group of just a few hand-picked people, about 400 people that shares their great minds. It's a group of change agents, great minds. And what I've learned about that group is that I remember when we were going to a political season when it was Mitt Romney, McCain, but Obama, during that season. Okay, so I remember that people were saying, we have to reach across the aisle. Not everybody in my group. I'm talking about other groups now. Okay, let's switch. And let's try to reach out to them. Let's try to work on trying to help them understand. And then I saw that happening a little bit when for this election, right, between Trump and Kamala and Biden. And so what I thought was interesting was the first thing I felt was like, yuck. That's too much work trying to really find that one person out of so many, trying to find that one to change their mind. I mean, are you asking me to fake the funk? You want me to be nice, and con them. I mean, ugh, that's not my cup of tea. I'm not going to do that. I mean, because I want to work where I feel I can be more successful. So I'm just saying that even if we're talking about politics too, we can use this in our life anywhere in life, that we just can't save everybody. Um, and then there's just a whole bunch of people who are called simpletons. They're just simple. And that's not a compliment. My husband was around me when I first met. And he goes, "Oh, I'm just a simple man." And I go, "Honey, I know that there was some good lyrics and some old fashioned R&B back in the day, but if you look up simple, it's not too complimentary. So can you like replace that word? And let's look up what simple means." Because you know me, I'm not a wordsmith, even though I love words, right? I guess I am a wordsmith sometimes. It says easily understood or done, presenting no difficulty, plain, basic, uncomplicated in form or design, without much decoration. I thought, well, some of those things are not things you really probably want to be proud of. Behind the rhetoric, we do have similar commonalities, whether you like it or not. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. And I hope you all like my thumbnail. Simpleton is for some. I'm a layered cake. Go ahead, Coyote. What? He's a layered cake. And then I wanted to also share that Trump was very blatant about his truths. He saw that there was a market to really be clear about what his supporters wanted. Um, and you have some people saying, well, damn, he's keeping it real. You know, there's a lot of white Democrats that hide behind being a racist. So you're going to vote for Trump because of that? I mean, and then a lot of the black MAGA fell under the spell of the propaganda, the right wing propaganda, and the right wing propaganda is a locomotive machine that moves progressively for them. Trump tropes are plain as day. And then Coyote says, "I never can sleep under a full moon." Oh, really? Really? I love full moons. I used to see that all the time when I was in the country too. Oh, I love full moons. I wanted to also share before I go into the meats and potatoes of what I'm talking about, because all the sustenance is meat and potatoes, is wake up, MAGA fans. You can't save the willfully ignorant. The, the wake up call for MAGA fans need to hear. As much as we'd like to think that we can change the minds of those who refuse to see the truth, it's time to face the harsh reality. And just because you feel that you are a part of the winning for Trump, that you were nothing but a step for him to step on to get to where he wanted to go. So not only you could say, well, black MAGA fans who are black, who are kicked to the curb and turned away by the MAGA club, they're going to realize that the MAGA, they're simple-minded too. And you say, why? Because Trump called them, they stank and they were stupid. So because for whatever the reasons are, you felt he was not talking about you. As much as we like to think we can change the minds of those who refuse to see the truth, it's time to face the harsh reality, and you can't save the willfully ignorant. In my live tonight, we're going to dive into some uncomfortable truth about trying to awaken those who would rather stay asleep, and from the dangers of echo chambers to the futility of arguing with those that are closed minded. We're exploring the tough questions that need to be asked. So, are you ready to confront the hard truth and stop wasting your energy on those who refuse to listen? Well, let's get real with Rhonda's lovely sparks. And let's get honest about the limitations of our influence. Okay, here we go. I want to start off with a striking fact about the misinformation in politics that will make viewers question their beliefs. And what will make you question your beliefs? Did Kamala really lose? It was a very quiet election. And it's not because MAGA was not going to take over the country and had the plan to do another January 6th. It was going to be something else. It was quiet because Republicans, everything Republicans did, it was planned. And what is that plan? Well, not to hold up signs to make of Obama and Michelle Obama and Barack Hussein Obama, that's his name, them mimicked as monkeys. There was not one sign like that held up at the January 6th insurrection. Not one. Isn't that weird? Not one sign was held up of them resembling monkeys. There was no attack. Trump made no attack at Al Sharpton. Trump made no attack, really, to Whoopi Goldberg. A little bit, but not much. And there's some more that just seem to be strange. And the question would be why? And the thing I could come up with is the mastermindful plan of not turning or giving a sour taste to the potential of also Black Republicans, and also don't create a narrative where the media can take that and distract from his plan from the beginning. I don't think really, to be honest with you, I don't think Trump really cared. Welcome back, family. Nodulista. I don't think Trump truly cared about Black people being MAGA. He cared about taking that narrative and screwing that into whatever his ideas were and are, to put that language out there for the media to repeat, that he's confident about having the Black vote. He played this election, boy, and he won it, from what I see. I'm not a denier, even though there are some things that are very suspect. He knew how to be meticulous because his reality show, his reality show where he told everybody, you're fired, you're fired, you're fired. He got a lot of material from other people's ideas to help build his campaign. Am I speaking about what the news is not speaking? Damn right I am. Because they're missing the boat. They are. I am Rhonda with that spark that make you go, what? Hmm. The people missed the boat. That MSNBC, who I like watching, they missed it because Black people, for the most part, not the ones who are simple-minded, um, willfully ignorant, but those who are smart, intelligent, he was able to use the race Black, the culture Black, to bring attention to himself. He used that. And the attention that he brought to himself benefited him. I'm not saying this to compliment him. I'm saying this to share with you my opinion and how complicated it can be and how easy it can be to persuade public opinion, to persuade the mood. But what people are also missing right now is that the Democrats are sure is quiet. I mean, yeah, we got some speaking here and there. Ain't it quiet? Why? And I'm going to tell you why. Let me remind you what Kamala said. It's going to sound different today. All right? Kamala says, our fight continues. November 6, 2024. Kamala says, my heart is full of gratitude for the trust that you have placed in me, full of love for our country and full of resolve. I know you gave so much of yourselves to this fight, and I am so grateful to you. The outcome of this election is not what we wanted, and it's not what we fought for, but the light of America's promise will always burn bright as long as we never give up and keep fighting. While I concede this election, I do not concede the fight that fueled this campaign. The fight of the ideas that reflect America at its best, freedom, opportunity, fairness, and dignity. That is a fight I will never give up. Key words there. I will never give up the fight for a future where every American can pursue their dreams, where the women of America have the freedom to make decisions about their own bodies, and the fight to protect our students and our streets from gun violence, the fight for our democracy, because the fight of our country is always worth it, and we cannot give up. Now, doesn't that sound like something's just getting started? This is not the time to throw up our hands. This is a time to roll up our sleeves. And you can and will make a difference. Kamala Harris, November 6, 2024. It sounds different today than it sounded on November the 6th. And this is November the 15th. Because we got so caught up in the persuasion and the momentum of the climate and emotion and political opinion is why I just didn't want to watch the news first 3 days. Not because I was so mad and hurt that she didn't win. No, because I just wanted to have my own opinion without it being influenced by my surroundings. I'm trying to watch this dress because my goodies has its own mind. They get liberated sometimes, especially when I talk about politics. They're very liberated. Let's get to the chat room. So Najla says, I'm back, family. Welcome back, beautiful. And Coyote says, hello, Najalista. Thank you for sharing the love with each other. And Mike Aldana says Trump dug into what people were upset and about outside of his own fan base. And those who are in hold a party position, the ones who were scared and straight up yellow coward, he forced them to jump. Trying to remember his name. He forced him to jump because when he spoke against Trump, he was on Trump's shit list. What I feel that's a step way above to what we're working with is that, to me, being a president doesn't give you all of the powers as people might think. It's a position where you automatically inherit an alliance. Whether they like you or not, you end up inheriting probably what Trump feels is loyalties. But in a cleaner political climate, those loyalties would be the CIA, would be the Pentagon, would be our soldiers, our military, and the people, right? The respect of the people. So we're broken because we have people who are having meetings of, in case Trump asks you, in simple form, to go around and round up a bunch of, and this is what he's going to say, not me, round up a bunch of those Mexicans. I got the list here. Go to those businesses first, and we're going to deport them. And even if they're naturalized, so-called whatever, we're going to still strip them from it and ship them to countries that they're not even from or probably never been there, because the majority of the people, oops, I did not mean to delete. Oh, it's okay. She said, I'm okay. That's okay. She understands. She understands. She says, I'm back, family. It's okay. That what Trump does see is the way he has always thought, is to cheat. And he's been successful. The lie and cheat. So with the lie and cheating, I ran to the bathroom and hit an accident. The lying and the cheating comes with, oh, well, I can jump in and get this election, and I can win this election, and I'll automatically have these large alliances, and I'll have a lot of power, and I have people who out there, people think that I think Kim Jong-un is my friends, or I just want to just have get cheap things and get my hotels built over there, and over there, she has Putin, who he thinks is his friend, maybe, or maybe he doesn't think he's his friend. I can't sit there and believe easily that I feel that Trump thinks that Kim Jong-un and Putin is his friend. I think Trump is using them because he's incapable of even knowing what friendship means. He looks up to them and he scours over the fact that he wants what they have, and he's mad at them because he feels he's the one who deserves that, not them. Did I give you a spark? Did I kind of bend the brain a little bit? That's what he believes. It's no such thing as him seeing people as friends. And that's what the presidency is for him, is a line to confidential documents, to the direct dial to people who hate him, and the direct dial to Iran. He has an access. And when he looks at oil and he has access to the printout of the money that this country is making, he is like, wow. He sees an opportunity as being president. Am I insulting Trump? No. If he hears me talking about this, he will say, look at that. That black girl over there that I can't see in the dark. All I can see is her teeth. She knows me well. Did you ever think? I'm gonna bend your brain some more. Are you ready? Did you ever think that, yeah, Trump can't stand Putin and Putin can't stand Trump? You ever thought about that? Did you ever think that Putin has so much stuff on Trump that Putin can shut Trump down? I'm going to take you on another place a little further. Do you think that Putin has so much on Trump that he could force Trump to give America to him? It's not far-fetched, people. It's not far-fetched. Bizarre, but not far-fetched to someone like Trump. Will Trump sell his country out? He already has. He already told the veterans he don't give a shit about them. I mean, what? This is when my show is about willful ignorance. Okay, y'all, I'm black. Shocker. I'm not made of somebody that always so easy to sit up there and go, well, I'm black and I just believe real quick. I'm scared of the white man. I'm really not. I mean, no. I don't think like that. But I can see clearly now the rain has gone. It's gonna be a bright, oh, bright, sunshiny day. Get rid of the clouds. Because if you see Kamala, how many times in her concede speech that she mentioned fight? Why are we having a fight? It's always what you don't hear. I love taking apart language, by the way. I'm a beautiful geek. I love breaking down paragraphs and sentences, because also when I worked for the DA's office, my job was also to do preliminary assessments. And I took those preliminary assessments and I put them into complaints. I had to pick things out of the case and I put them into the complaint. And I had, of course, the district attorney had to sign off on my work. But they depended on me to do the assessments of the paperwork. So I had to break down all this information and I had to put it in a complaint. So that means I knew how to break down the language of people in their reports, in what a criminal said, or someone who was arrested, probably not a criminal, but he was arrested. He had to go through this court system we have out here. So it wasn't like the DA taught me that. It was like I was already like gifted thinking like that. But working for the DA's office also refined my craft to not always run along with the momentum, or everybody's running this way, I'm going to jump over there in that space and just in the crack there, and I'm going to be observing. And I know that I'm not the only person like that. I know we have great thinkers in this room. I know that. But it just kind of puts what's probably back there, puts it up there and go, oh. So Michael Donna says, global autocrats will use Trump in the end. There you go. Oh, I like that one. Global autocrats. You took it even further. Oh my God. I wasn't thinking about global power. Caglioli says Putin has been in power since 1999, right? Caglioli, he's seen all of it. He has. Caglioli says he's seen all of it. Mike Aldana says Putin's actually killed his political enemies. Of course, it was horrible, right? Right? I knew that guy that was in Ukraine, his commander, or whatever he was. He spoke against them. He spoke against Trump, right? They're in Ukraine fighting. I mean, he spoke against Putin. He was in with his brigade. He was in Ukraine. It was Russia. He was Russian, and he was in there fighting. All of a sudden, he got to a point where they abandoned their area, went to a place where all of his, I would say all of his men, if not the majority, and him was like, F Putin, we're going to go against him. We're going to try to overthrow him. We're going to like overthrow what he's doing, get him out. And it didn't work because homie took a damn plane and the damn plane blew up. How stupid. Okay, that's the name of my my show tonight is what? The willingness to be ignorant, basically. Critical thinking comes in handy. Oh my God, yeah. But see, we are caught up sometimes too and always going along with the momentum that Trump leads us to follow. And we're being told and told again. And how many times are we going to continue to be shocked and dumbfounded? I mean, being shocked and dumbfounded, you pinch yourself, you go, oh my God, thank God I'm human. And that's great. But then we just have to get ahead, right? At least try to figure this out so we can live with this stuff that we're going to have to face. We're going to have to face it. Did Eva Longoria, did she say, did I read a news somewhere? Was it her that said she's leaving the country? I mean, she's lucky. I mean, she can afford it. She probably already have a dual citizenship somewhere else in another house over there. I'm not downing Eva. I'm just saying not everybody can do that. So just like me and my people historically, free enslaved people had to stay. And even if there was a woman I used to work with, she goes, oh, you know, all the slaves were happy slaves. I wanted to punch all her damn teeth out of her mouth. And guess what this bitch was over? And I don't like using the word B, but I'm just going to say it. She was HR manager. And I just didn't puff. I let her know to her face that it really, really made me feel uncomfortable when she said that. And I had that look like you see now. And I told her not in a, I did it in Rhonda's fashion. I said, what you said really, really bothered me. Just like that. Not yelling, not screaming, not throwing the typewriter at her or getting, erasers and throwing it at her head or pulling her hair. I didn't do that. That was the most strongest words that I could ever say to someone who said something like that fucked her up for a very long time. Because she thought forever that I would repeat what she said to the higher ups. And I knew that if I did, they wouldn't give a flat flatulence ass. Flatulence. She married or was to Tony Parker evil? Yes. Nothing new under the sun, right, Coyote? Wouldn't have cared. What could I do to make it relevant, to make myself relevant? Well, we ended up being bought out by one of the biggest companies worldwide. And their philosophy was different and very open-minded. And they believed that my boss at the local place where I worked was not my boss. My boss was out of New York, which was headquarters. Their headquarters was out of England. It's called S&P Global. One of the biggest companies worldwide. And you're talking about when that company bought out my company that I worked for, I was thrilled because it was just an amazing experience before I chose to retire. Before I retired, I just wanted to have an experience like that where I was exempt, that they didn't have no such thing as a sick leave, that my benefits quadrupled and I had like 2 months of vacation. And you know what I'm saying? Before you retire, you want to have that experience so you could talk about it, so it could be good for your psyche. So I ended up having, out of their company that was also in Colorado, a person who was my mentor. And that company was so huge that you could have a mentor. So my mentor, believe it or not, was an Australian who lived in Colorado, who was a white guy, who loved my collections of eyewear because I had hundreds and hundreds of pair of eyewear, organized, by the way. I wasn't a hoarder. And every time he flew into my country town of a company, he always made me feel good. He was my mentor, my assigned mentor, because you can get allies at your company. It was about training. It was about building confidence in employees. It was about making you feel not slighted or underserved. So I told him about what she said to me and the advice that he gave me. And it was as real as he could be. He said, taking this even higher, and not that I was going to, but taking this even higher was not going to change, because Rhonda, the higher that you go up, the worse it is, because there are people that you're going to be talking to and sharing your upsetness with. They also believe that there were happy slaves. He said, but this is not to feel that the door is closed and that you're in doubt. So he gave me these books and material to read, which was How to Manage Sideways and How to Manage Upwards. The most brilliant piece of work I've ever read. Please Google it. How to Manage Sideways and How to Manage Upwards. And what that means is that I can be in a job and look at myself as a manager. How would I handle myself? And what would I do? Manage sideways mean, instead of going direct with people, learning how to be effective and make sure you put yourself first and make sure that you are productive and address a situation where you feel you're going to be guaranteed to win. Love that freaking book. I'm giving out little tidbits. I know Naja Lista and Daydream loves to read. Get those books. I'd recommend that to you, Managing Sideways and Managing Upwards. Very intricate material. He was a great mentor for me. And I was a winner every time. I was a winner. Because looking at it from you being the manager, you being the CEO of yourself, and how would you handle it? Number one, you wouldn't give your power away by letting them think that they bothered you. But how do you address a situation where your conscience can be free. And that's how you approach people. So I approached her and I said, I have to say something to you that really, really bothered me. And I and I seem to let it go. But I think for me, in order to have closure, I have to say what you said such and such day. It really, really, really bothered me. And I'm going to need your help to help me through this difficult time. The first thing came to her mind that she couldn't say, she stuttered, and this dumped it on her, and it made her feel like, oh shit, I can get fired for what I said. There can be a lawsuit. Oh my God. I got my power back, and this put her in a lower situation than how she was trying to make me feel, because she was really trying to make me feel lower. But I turned it around and put her in a position where I was compliant with policy. I addressed her in a kind way, and I flipped it to make her think, which is true, that I feel really bad and I really probably can't live with this in my heart and my mind. And put a threat out there that's non-threatening. So Mike Aldana says, sounds like a book on transformative leadership. Yep. Managing sideways and managing upwards. And Coyote says, when you realize you have the power to make things happen, when you really become good at your craft, man, you do. I'm a survivor. Y'all are survivors. Isn't that brilliant? Where you can, even though being a survivor also, you also have to realize that when it fails, not you necessarily, but when it fails. My cat hears daddy. He wants to go back there. When it fails, that means doesn't work in your favor. Then as a leader, it's how you handle the failure. It's how you handle the failure by still being clear-minded and facing it. A lot of people don't want to face failure. And that's why you get people who think about, get depressed and unaliving themselves or unaliving someone else, or walk into a school and do their shit. But to also see what has failed, that it wasn't you, and that you are going to make it, even if it wasn't even if you didn't want that as the outcome. You all, my life, just being a Black woman, I had to always find way, being Black and a woman. Kamala ain't got nothing on me. But being a Black woman in a predominant world of white people who made a lot of good money, and I wanted a piece of that money. I want a piece of that. I want to make that money. I feel that I earned that kind of income, and I earn those benefits. And I just didn't let that hold me back because of my color, even though my color, other people did judge. It was not going to hold me back because I thrived in being a beautiful Black woman. We say that we know that in our political system that we have been plagued by our political landscape far too long, and that's willful ignorance. And I'm not just talking about any old ignorance, but I'm talking about the kind that's deliberately chosen, passionately defended, and recklessly spread, especially within the MAGA community, where it comes frighteningly common to see people rejecting facts, ignoring reality, and instead choosing to believe whatever confirms their biases. It's a recipe for disaster, folks, and it's high time that we address it. And I'm going to, and I have been addressing it here. Willful ignorance. When we willfully ignore the truth, we open ourselves up to manipulation, exploitation, and even harm. And we become pawns in the game of misinformation where our emotions are exploited. And our critical thinking, as we were talking about, skills are suppressed. And I felt like that the day of the election. By doing so, we're not only harming ourselves, but we're also contributing to the erosion of public discourse and the degradation of our political system. It's vicious and a vicious cycle that can only be broken by actually acknowledging the dangers of willful ignorance and making a conscious effort to seek out accurate information. We've seen it time and time again. People sharing false news stories, believing in conspiracy theories, and parroting debunked claims without ever stopping to fact check or consider alternative perspectives. And when confronted with evidence that contradicts their beliefs, they believe defensive, aggressive, and even hostility is the answer. This kind of closed-mindedness is not only it's not only detrimental to our individual growth, but it also poisons our collective ability to engage in constructive dialogue and find common ground. Water break. Get your water. My voice is cracking. And a throat lozenge. The consequences of willful ignorance are far-reaching and devastating, and we've seen it lead to the spread of harmful misinformation about vaccines, climate change, and even the COVID-19 pandemic. We've seen it fuel hate, crimes, justify discrimination, and perpetuate systemic injustices. And we've seen it undermine our faith in institutions, experts, and the very fabric of our democracy. It's a crisis. Folks, it's a crisis, and we need to really take it seriously. Take, for example, the conspiracy surrounding the QAnon movement. We forget about that. Despite being thoroughly debunked, these false narratives continue to circulate, radicalizing thousands and encouraging them to take dangerous, often violent actions. Or consider the endless stream of misinformation about the 2020 presidential election, which has led to widespread distrust and even violence. By refusing to acknowledge the truth, we're not only harming ourselves, but we're also putting entire communities at risk. There's also a story that I want to share with you all. And it's about a woman who, after being misinformed about the safety of vaccines, refused to vaccinate her child. And tragically, her child contracted a preventable disease and suffered severe lasting consequences. And this woman, willful ignorance led to a lifetime of regret and what ifs. It's a story that should serve as a warning to all of us, and the stakes are real, and the consequences of willful ignorance is devastating, as we have seen. on election day. And as we have seen from also people who are regretting their vote. My mind drifted because I was thinking about the day not too long right after the election. There were statistics that went up 250. There was analytics on the search engines, analytics topped above 200, more than 250%, that more people were Googling about how they can change their minds in the vote. How can I take back my vote? And the stats were Republicans going online. Yeah, there is a way to find this information. Your IP address is public knowledge. It's the license. It's your social security number to the government. Your IP is a social security number to the government. They can look up things and get that information and sell it and make billions of dollars off of just our activities. But also the second highest most search on the day or right after the election was people were questioning, what are tariffs? How will tariffs affect me? I've even seen countless of cases like where people have suffered directly from misinformation and ignorance, and it's heartbreaking because it is preventable. We have the power to choose what we believe, to seek out accurate information, and to educate ourselves. But it requires effort, it requires a lot of humility and willingness to acknowledge our own biases and limitations. Let's recap the main points that I've discussed with you so far. And then we're going to get into some video where we're going to show two quick things. One is about a woman who broke down the science of some things that we've all been asking, and she's got answers. And then we have another one where a MAGA supporter, a Black MAGA supporter, is being kicked out of the MAGA crew, and how he's very upset and hurt because of his willingness to be ignorant. Willful ignorance is a pervasive problem, especially within the MAGA community, and it has real devastating consequences. It undermines the critical thinking skills and poisons public discourse and leads to harm and suffering. And we need to take responsibility for our own education and seek out accurate information and approach the world with humility and an open mind. So what do you think? Which we've been discussing here. And for you all going back into the replay and people who end up seeing this video later on, in the comments, tell me, what do you think? Have you struggled with willful ignorance? Have you seen willful ignorance in others? And share your thoughts in the comments, and let's continue this conversation. And if you want to explore this topic of misinformation further, and be sure to check out my next video also, which will talk about the dangers of online echo chambers. I plan to do a next video about that. And I'm not going nowhere. We have some more video to show you, which I'm going to get set up while I'm talking. I'm going to catch up on the chat. Nobody can totally be hidden, even with the VPN. There's an entry point that can't be hidden. Oh my God. Say it like it is, Coyote, because you are the computer guru. And I love your setup too. Thank you for the email. You sent me an email of your beautiful setup. Man, if I could just like be a genie and wish you here and help me with mine. Got a beautiful setup, Coyote. I'm going to play this video. And of course, I'm going to go back to chat and see if I missed anything. But we're going to continue partying tonight. And on my notes here, I talk about some things that right-wing propaganda and what Trump is going to do, and the ones who are going to be kicked to the curb. The economy was just a smooth word to use versus black woman Kamala running for president. So economy was the go-to. It wasn't because of the economy. That's what they said. But it was about them just not wanting to vote for a black woman, period. And you got some people who are not afraid to say it. And there's some people who that are some people who don't want to say it. And then there's some people who are proud to say it. And you're going to see it here in just a minute. I'll play this video first. And then we're going to tap into, I'm going to play the woman's video first because it breaks down an Asian man who talks to a white man. They're having dinner and he just puts it out there. And this, again, this is about willful ignorance. And this is going to show you that this man is saying it. And it's going to like challenge you and then be humble about it and face yourself like I was reading before, something I wrote. I did a transcript about can you humble yourself and go, wow, because I've been doing that all week. I've been humbling myself and admitting some things. So when you realize you have the power to make things happen, Coyote says, then you really become good at your craft. And Coyote says, here, kitty, kitty, kitty. I know he's finally asleep. Coyote says, nobody can totally be hidden within VPN. Thank you for that too. There is an entry point that can't be hidden. It's like today, people talking on the phone, then they get upset because someone had recorded them. Really? And then Coyote says, I like your setup, Rhonda. I'm more a gamer entertainer, but you stream. Did I miss something here? Let me see if I need to look at live chat and refresh that. Oh, no, you stopped. Did you stop or did I stop? Testing 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's working. So, oh, no, you stopped. Did you stop? I like your setup, Rhonda. I'm more of a gamer entertainer, but you stream. Okay. So, am I not understanding what you're saying? You know how I could be. I'd be like, don't want to assume what people meaning. You're all gonna like this. This is gonna blow your mind. And the next one is gonna show the MAGA supporter. But let's play this woman, who I like listening to her. And first time I saw her today. And I was like, what? Go ahead, sister. I know you say you like my setup. Oh, okay, I got it now. You were saying, I like your setup, Rhonda. I'm more of a gamer entertainer is why you have your setup the way it is. And you're saying, but I stream. Okay, so that's what you're saying. See how there's a loss in translation sometimes? I mean, you made it clear. Loss in translation, y'all. But you're saying, but you stream, Rhonda. That's good for you. The setup is good. Okay, I was trying to think back what I said. So let's get into this. This is going to be juicy. Oh my God. Y'all see my thumbnail? I love that little cute little green face. I was thinking, look at that. Willfully ignorant. Let's turn that around and let's get this playing about this clean up. Sorry about that, everybody. I got to shine it. And I'm going to play some breakdown of some truths at this white man at the dinner table. I always tell people I mention white or black because people are proud of your race. And I'm not about going to like fan over things and simmer things down because people don't want to say black. I'm black. I'm not an African American. I'm black. I'm a black American. I love the word black. I'm a black woman. Let's get to here. Let's get into history. And let's pull this up real quick so we can see what Rhonda was talking about. Like, what? What you say? What you say, Rhonda? Here. White man tells the truth to Asian man at dinner and says the quiet part out loud. Okay? White man tells the truth to Asian man at dinner and says the quiet part out loud. And then in my chat, sorry if my words seem hard to follow, but that's how my brain works. No, it's just interpretation. Me lost in translation. You know, it just happens. The Onion, new social media, bought the rights to InfoWorld, Info platform. I thought I heard that too. Brought the rights to InfoWars in a bankruptcy auction. Shoo! Liquidating Alex Jones' assets to pay off his debts for Sandy Hook's ruling. Whoa! Whoa, thank you, Michael Donna. Thank you for that delicious piece of news.
Propaganda and emotion. I voted for Donald Trump for one reason. But I want to know how it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into facts, because his entire campaign is not based in facts. It was all based in propaganda and emotion. I voted for Donald Trump for one reason only. His policies, if implemented, would slow the dispossession of whites in the United States. If you were to deport all illegal immigrants, if you were to think very hard about letting in any Muslims, all of this would slow the rate at which whites are becoming a minority. Why are you so worried about the white dispossession of America? Because I want my people to survive. Because that's what's strange. We don't control China. We don't control any place where whites are not a majority. And if we become a minority, we will not control our own destiny anymore. I grew up in this country as a minority, as the children of immigrants. I was their first child born in America. And while I didn't have much possession or didn't much control, I really enjoyed myself. And I think that if you ask a lot of Americans, they would say that I had a lot to offer this country. You know, according to you, I guess I would be perpetuating the dispossession of white America. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I have it in a swivel.
You wouldn't want me in this country? At some point, when my ancestors built this nation, they did not build it with the intention of giving it away to Mexicans or Chinese or Asians or to anyone else. Do you consider, you keep saying your ancestors built this country, you consider that a fact? Who else built it? Black people, Native Americans, Chinese
because
people.
Because he feels that his people had the money.
Could have been Italian people. But they're Europeans, aren't they? But I want to know how it is you voted for Donald Trump when you're so into fact.
Pay attention. He never answered whether or not he doesn't want him in this country. He's sitting there eating with him, and he's able to choke down his food. Look at him. And then he's like, we built this country. You were just something to be used. Your ancestors were just like a plow. They don't see you as human. Many of these people are very upset that you have been given quote-unquote equal rights. Many of these people see you as an N-word. They saw Kamala Harris as, they saw her as an N-word. They think that you are inferior. In their ignorance, they think that they are superior, and they are trying to find some way with their confirmation bias. They're trying to find different ways that they can confirm the bias that they already have. They see you as subhuman, beneath human. And you know how angry they were to see Obama in the White House, a quote-unquote N-word in the White House? This is how Trump got elected. Don't you see that this is part of where it is that they want to go? And more than half of Americans are fine with allowing him to take it there. How much do you trust the people that you think you trust? Mm-hmm. If they had had the chance for you to be their unpaid servant, do you think they would jump at that opportunity? What about your child? What about that? I just want you all to just pay attention.
Mike Adonis says, white
This
Caucasians,
is what
in
it
his
was
view,
all
were
about.
going to be the minority going forward.
They tried to
Probably.
pretend that it
It's
was
probably
about
true because he
policy.
sees that,
had
well,
concepts
people
of a plan.
interracial
Concepts
dating
of
and
a
Project
plan.
Somebody wrote some
2025
slips on his
is going to
website,
stop
but
interracial
before in his prior administration,
marriage.
penned
Probably dating too, right?
Project 2025. Many of you were like, oh,
There you go.
just because he said it had nothing to do with him, you believe him? The man is a damn liar. But he slips up and tells the truth. He told the truth that he believed that the jobs, that the low-paying jobs that the illegal immigrants
He didn't slip
had,
up and tell the truth. He told the
he
truth.
believed that those were black jobs. He was supposed to be out there on that farm picking those tomatoes. There are gins now to pick cotton, but tomatoes still have to be picked by hand. People still need servants. And pedos and perverts still need their supply. They still need their supply.
I thought that was a good part. I'm going to also play, let's play this here. Okay, let's get back. Gave us a break here. Get back on some. The name of it is this that I was used.
Oh my God.
What's going on?
Don't feel bad for these people. Oh my goodness. So one thing that I've noticed is that I'm starting
The
to see
amazing
people
Lucas.
be empathetic, in some cases overly sympathetic towards Black MAGA. You know, the 20% of Black men who voted for Trump. Do not feel bad for these people. Now, I said, yes, many of them were victims of misinformation. Many of them were victims of disinformation. It is what it is. However, you have to understand that many of them were not. Many of them were willfully ignorant. That upon being told, hey, that's not true, that they said, nuh-uh. That upon being told, hey, no, she said that she was for reparations, here's the clip, here's the link, that they didn't choose to click it, that they chose not to believe it. That's on them. And I say this to bring up this poor, miserable sack. You have this Black guy on TikTok, and he's talking about, hey, MAGA family, that, you know what, they said that they only use me for my vote, and that, you know, because I'm Black, I'll never be a part of the MAGA family.
MAGA family, I was on TikTok Live, and a fellow Trump supporter said that all he needed was my vote. I'll never be part of the MAGA family, and that I'm Black, I'll never be accepted, but he just got my vote.
It was at this moment that he knew he fucked up.
Now, it's not really funny, but it really is. These people came out and told him what it was. They came out and explicitly said, hey, you'll never be a part of this. You'll never be a part of MAGA. You're Black. Damn.
Funny, Trump is now calling for white reparations.
They came out and told him that. Now, upon giving this information, what a reasonable, rational
It just might happen.
would say deuces. Hey, we even have Rob Bushy Smith who said deuces, right? This man, and he did the most about it. Well, y'all don't want me here, then I won't be here.
So the neo-Nazis and the white supremacists wanted me out of the Republican Party, and guess what? I'm out.
They harassed this dude at an event, calling him all types of slurs at the event that forced him to leave the MAGA movement. This man was told, we just want you for your vote. And you want to know what his response was?
Nah, that's crazy. Like, I love MAGA Nation. I love the MAGA family.
What?
And that breaks my heart that someone would speak to me like that right after the election, that all I was a vote? Nah, I love all you guys, and I know most of you MAGA family members are not racist, and I love you guys, and I'll keep repping MAGA Nation, Trump 2024. But that really broke my heart that some guy would say that.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, what are we supposed to do with that? What are we supposed to do with these Negroes that think like that? He said, nah, I still rep MAGA family. Bro, there's nothing we can do with those people. You have to understand, some people did not want to go with Harriet Tubman. To my white John Browns out there, okay? Leave Negroes like this alone. To my black people out there, leave Negroes like this alone. You can't save everybody. These individuals told him what it was, and he said, no, I don't believe you. What are we supposed to do with this? We're now seeing an influx of these simpletons, of these black MAGA, who are now trying to tout that they're pro-black. They are now trying to do everything in their power to whitewash what Trump says, to whitewash what the administration is attempting to do. And ironically, they're the ones that are going to get hurt by this the most. They were in shambles once Trump came out and said, hey, he's not for taxpayer-funded reparations. They were in shambles when Trump was given as far as reparations to white people. Reparations to white people because they suffer from a cognitive dissonance. So what did these Negroes start doing? They started saying, well, he didn't say the word reparations. You can't help these people. They're done. They're toast. They're finished, bro. They cooked. Toast. They will spend the next 4 years trying to justify their Sambo anti-black racist behavior. That's what you have to understand. They will do everything in their power to try and do mental gymnastics to validate who they chose to vote for, to validate their misogyny, to validate their hatred of black women, to validate, in some cases,
ironic, I would mention that.
Their internal hatred. That's what they will do, and they will stop at no one.
I know.
So instead,
you were right on it.
Instead of engaging with these lost souls, bro, these plantation Negroes, we have got to focus on doing what we need to do. You've got to focus on a message that resonates with the American people. You've got to focus on infrastructure so that you can get this message out to the American people, so that those that can be saved, those that sat on the couch because they thought all hope was lost, if they could have been received a message that resonated with them, they could have received the message at all. Because a lot of this has been, overcome by, right-wing propaganda. And, they're going to tell them as far as the opposite of the truth. So everything that needs to be done needs to be focused on the future, needs to be focused on the midterms, needs to be focused on 2028, needs to be building and flourishing in anticipation for what's to come. Now, these Negroes, there's nothing we can do. They're going to fall by the wayside, and they think
nothing we can do.
And they're going to be sadly mistaken. The rest of us have got to focus elsewhere. We can't spend our attention, we can't spend our brain power trying to convince these Negroes that that's not what she said, trying to convince these Negroes that's not what he's going to do, trying to convince these Negroes, well, that's not the best way we should go about. Nothing we can do about them. Stop spending our energy on the 20% of Negroes who are lost. While there is 80% of Negroes who aren't. There are 80% of black people who are ready to fight, who are like, hey, how do we prevent this from happening? What's going on? How do we, what are our white liberals going to do as far as to send out a message to get with them? Because there's a lot of finger pointing that needs to go on, and it's not with black men and it's not with the black women. So that's what needs to be focused on. That's what needs our energy and attention. Not these dummies, bro. Not them. Anyways, guys, that's a video. Let me know what you guys think. Whether or not you believe Lucas, you know what?
You've been hoodwinked, bamboozled.
If we were just to talk to him and tell him about the policies that Kamala Harris
led
had and how
astray.
and then talk about the policies that Donald Trump had and how they would hurt him.
Aww.
Okay, sure. Or if you have belief, no. You have to understand that some of them are lost. Not everyone's going to be saved. Some of them like the plantation, so let them be on the plantation. They like being the house Negro, so let them be the house Negro and suffer the repercussions of that. Because it's going to come. It's definitely going to come. So stop putting our energy and attention on people who don't deserve it. Nevertheless, if you happen to disagree, you know where to find me. Friday.
Did I rewind that by accident?
Disagreement day, you can call in. We'll duke it out. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please feel free to
His
like,
call-in
share.
shows. I just heard about him a couple of days ago. My husband said he's seen him before. I told him, I said, I've never seen him before. And he had one, it was like, whoa, he had a call-in. And it was crazy that the people that called in, what they believed in, and it's very
One of the things I talk about a lot
interesting.
on this network is the circus and embarrassment that comes along with Donald Trump, the ultimate circus clown. And we've talked
I like
about
the
his
brothers on here.
appointments. We should also talk about one of his
Some
other
people don't remember
appointments.
Malcolm X or
Melania
James
Trump,
Baldwin
his
referring to
third
their own
wife.
blackness.
His
Right?
first wife now is buried in the back lot of Bedminster in the
They don't know
swampy
nothing.
area, basically an
These people
unmarked
talking about
grave
that because
with
they don't know. I mean, how
shrubs
can you?
growing over it, kind of
You
like
know, people like Malcolm X,
what
people like that, they can
Melania
at
did
least
to the Rose Garden
give you
the first
some
time around, where she
ideas. I mean,
literally
they
destroyed our beautiful
these people don't
Rose
want to hear it.
Garden in the White House and turned it into some
Don't know nothing.
gothic nightmare mess looking thing. In any event, Melania back at it again, humiliating Trump, humiliating the nation, humiliating herself. So President Biden, typical Biden, Dr. Jill Biden graciousness, invites Donald Trump to the White
People
House.
are
It was a
upset
hard image
with
to
how
even watch that
nice
happen.
Biden
We're gonna
has
show the
been to
image
Trump,
here, but Melania
but the
refused
niceness don't
to show
let that
up.
mislead
Yeah,
you. You know,
Melania's office,
there's
now the
something
office of
going
Melania
on.
Trump, put out the following statement. Mrs. Trump will not be attending today's meeting at the White House. Her husband's return to the Oval Office to commence the transition process is encouraging, and she wishes him great success. In this instance, several unnamed sources in the media
So come up with the
continue to
color,
provide
how to
false,
redecorate the
misleading,
White
and inaccurate
House.
information. Be
That
discerning with
ugly
your
ass
source of
Christmas
news.
color.
You know what you're talking about. And by the way, do you have AI just writing that? Is that artificial intelligence writing that? But Melania did have enough time to do something, not to be gracious and show up at the White House and shake Dr. Jill Biden's hand. Nope. What she did do was sell images of herself for $195. Here's what she is promoting now. The grift continues. And as I said, this is so undignified. This is so utterly embarrassing. It's contemptuous. It's tacky. What is this? She writes, this is what Melania Trump posts while not going to the White House. On the move, a series of new photographs capturing my journey. Each image showcases the art of being present while moving forward into an exciting new world. Like, what the hell does that even mean? The art of being present, while moving forward into an exciting new world. I truly don't even understand the sentence. Maybe you understand it. I don't know. But then I click this image and it goes to a website. Okay.
Trump gloated towards Biden on how nice it was to come back, especially after a monumentous, decisive win. I saw that. It was sickening.
So while she and MAGA complain about
people are mad at Biden, I was like, well, how was he supposed to be?
Inflation's down. America,
you don't tell the left hand what the right hand is doing.
Better than any other country in the world. Our GDP growth setting records, unemployment at record lows. We're energy independent for the first time right now. Our stock market before Trump won was setting records, 70 straight days of setting records, all-time highs, 50-60% above where the market was when Trump was in office. Unemployment, as I said, at record lows. Manufacturing boom. I can go on and on and on, but I know MAGA was complaining about prices, but if you're spending $195 on an exclusive collection of images showcasing Melania's dynamic life, featuring her in various settings, from her office and the campaign trail to her home, the photographs captured by the esteemed Belgian photographer, not even an American photographer, they use a Belgian photographer, by the way. Sure, Belgian photographers are good, but not even an American photographer, offer a poignant glimpse into
unfortunately, Biden promised a peaceful transition of power when Trump was invited back to the White House. Yeah. I like Biden. I respect how he handles things. I mean, how else is he supposed to do it? You know what I mean?
Propaganda, Kim Jong-un style TV. so they had to praise this collection. A whole story on Fox. Melania Trump launches On the Move digital photo series, highlighting, quote, her fast-moving life. The $195 collection includes 16 digital images showcasing Trump. Brooke Singman wrote that. I mean, that's really what you're spending your time writing. Brooke Singman. Trump rolled out her On the Move limited edition.
Peaceful and orderly transition.
16 digital images showcasing Trump in various settings.
I like that, to be honest with you.
Literally just her. I mean, it's literally propaganda. They took
Mary Trump
and they posted
was
it.
always saying, some things that she didn't like about how
right. That's what Putin media is. Now it's here in the U.S.
professional he was. I mean, what else should you expect?
We should all be embarrassed by that. Who's into that? Donald Trump is sending emails, though, selling crap as well. He's still selling things after the election. Photo from Trump. And you look at it, it goes signed victory photo from Trump. Signed limited edition. You click on it. For $50, you qualify for it. You don't even get it. For $100, you can claim it. For $250 and $1,000, you can claim it as well. By the way, on election night itself, when there was the photo of the Trump family, Elon Musk was in that photo. You see Elon Musk right there, but no Melania, now the first lady. Yeah,
we start making money off them.
Selling, by the way, or someone selling with her approval, or implied or otherwise, photographs with her face on it. $500 Melania bills, everybody.
What?
You can get a fake $500 bill for $9.99. Who wouldn't want a fake $500 Melania bill? What are they doing in Russia? What is Putin doing? It's mocking the crap out of the United States right now. They are feasting in Russia. They find us to be the dumbest country. They are laughing at what just transpired. Russia, you know how Trump goes, they're literally laughing at us right now. Look, I'm not going to play the full video right here because I've showed it before. They are running continuing segments on the evening news showing Melania nudes.
Wow.
Over and over again and saying,
wow,
your choice, America. Yes, it's your body, your
Who?
choice. And the
Russia?
way state-run media works in Russia, Vladimir Putin
told you they got something on
Vladimir
him.
Tells them, and the Kremlin tells them
They
what
got something on him.
So they're making very intentional decisions
Right.
to show Putin's dominance over Donald Trump
Right.
by continuing to show nudes of
Wow.
Melania while mocking her. And the hosts are actually like laughing as they show the nudes.
Oh my God.
Do you make coffee at home? Well, it only takes
So what
1
Trump
minute
gonna
to
do?
transform
Say
your
something about
experience
it?
forever. Thanks to our
Ooh.
friends at Trade. With Trade, you'll discover that the secret to making amazing
That
coffee
is,
is to, start with amazing coffee.
So Putin is
Perfectly
putting this
matched to your
out,
taste,
new
roasted
pictures
to
and
order,
stuff on
and delivered
Trump.
directly from
And
America's
Trump's
top
supposed to
independent
be
roasters. And you know,
supposed
as
to be
the
good
resident
friends. At
coffee
least he
geek
tries to
Midas,
sell the
I would
lies.
not just recommend any coffee service. No matter how you brew or
To
what
me,
equipment
that
you
means
prefer,
taunting. It
getting
means you
coffee
have
from
something
Trade is
on
the
Trump.
easiest way to instantly
I don't
improve
know. This
your
is
at-home
crazy.
coffee experience. Trade partners with top independent roasters from small towns across the USA. Places
Sound
you'd
like
love
him
to
and
visit,
Putin bumping
and they handpick
heads?
the best coffees for you to enjoy, delivered fresh to your door on your schedule. I've been trying
I'm
a
gonna
few
read
roasts
that and I
from
get through with
Trade,
this
and
break.
each one has been incredibly fresh and full of flavor. I love that first moment when you open the bag. The aroma is incredible. My mornings feel like a real coffee shop experience right now, but honestly way better, and I don't have to leave my house and spend a lot of money. My wife and I always brew the latest beans we get from Trade and have a little coffee date each morning. It's honestly the highlight of our day, and Trade just sent us this Good Vibes coffee from a roaster called Greater Goods Coffee in Austin. It was awesome. Don't settle for okay coffee. Head to drinktrade.com/Midas to receive your first bag free. That's drinktrade.com/MEIDAS
Okay, so you say
to get your first bag free with any new subscription.
Elon Musk's
You know, as we've
presence
talked
in
about
Trump's
for the
cabinet
past
is
year,
already
for those
drawing
who are
unwanted
watching,
attention
paying attention to
from
all
within
this,
Republican Party by speaking on his
has this
behalf
pattern of
on
growth.
smoothing
At first,
things
the
out
political
with
action
Iran.
committees of Trump would pay her hair stylist or whatever It was like $15,000 a month or $20,000
Oh,
a
my
month,
God.
something ridiculous. Quite almost like $1 million over the past 3 years went to her stylist for like monthly work or whatever you need to be doing for a month at that rate. She also appropriates the symbols of America, like this one right here, Lady Liberty, and she'll take the Lady Liberty symbol and then she'll sell fake gold chains or other tchotchkes, for $300,
What the hell?
$500. But she appropriates
That is
our
crazy.
symbols in the United States to make money for herself. Just utterly despicable. Then you just think about
That seems
I've
illegal.
done a video on this before, so I won't do the deep dive here about how Melania met Donald at the Kit Kat Club in New York. She was a young Eastern European woman who worked at this modeling agency that was run by a guy named Paolo Zampoli, who would bring in young Eastern European women, and then they would meet the wealthy Manhattan men at these Kit Kat
Oh, my
Club
God.
parties. And that's where Melania met Donald. She was an immigrant. Her process was expedited because she was given a Einstein visa, genius visa status, which expedited her whole process. And then she got her citizenship and then anchored her family.
But you know, Rudy
members to come in
Giuliani
here,
made that
and
pass
they
real
basically
fast.
got their process
Right.
expedited as well. Utterly despicable. But enough with Melania. Let me show you Dr. Jill Biden. And so, this election, in many ways, you had people who were just the exact kind of opposites, setting aside Vice President Kamala Harris, right? In President Biden, you had someone who won, regardless of if you're religious or not. I'm not making this a religious thing, but there's a lot of religious people out there who say, I voted for Trump because he's biblical. And Donald Trump never went to church in his life. Donald Trump hates religion. He just pretends he likes it. In President Biden, you had someone who literally went to church every week, someone who loved his family and loves his family unconditionally every day, whose family first with everything. You can see the love on the family, a loving marriage with Dr. Jill Biden, photos of I love you, Jill, I love you, Joe, back and forth. I mean, exactly what you would think of to be, a quintessential American love story of the highest caliber. You couldn't script this if you were to find like the American love story, in Hollywood of what it was like, how Jill met Joe. Then on the other hand, you had Trump going to the Kit Kat Club, where before that he was previously partying with Jeffrey Epstein and Elaine Maxwell and doing all of those things and running like preteen fashion shows or modeling shows, like girls on boats. I mean, disgusting stuff. Then later on meets Melania at the Kit Kat Club separately. And then on the other hand, you got Joe and Jill and putting Christmas trees and lights and actually showing real love. And America was given that test, that litmus test right here. So let's show you some more of these photos right here. Beautiful photos of President Biden and Jill Biden. So let me do this. First, I'm going to play you Melania. Then I'm going to play you Dr. Jill Biden. Okay? The Melania clip, I cut it so it's very short because I don't want you to listen to a long Melania clip. But here is Melania where back in December of 2023, she was speaking to a group of immigrants who were just getting their U.S. citizenship. By the way, under Trump's policy now, they'll likely be denaturalized and deported. That's what Trump's denaturalization policy is that Tom Homan wants to carry out. But here Melania is talking about how her citizenship process was easy because she had expensive lawyers. Play this one first. Here, play this clip.
And then, of course, there are nuances of understanding the United States immigration laws and the complex legal language contained therein.
Hey, Mike, if you wanted to post some links for me to play, I could do that. If you have any you want me to play.
And eventually, it proved critical for me to retain counsel. I was fortunate to do so, as ultimately my journey was streamlined and brought me over the finish line as a naturalized citizen. While challenges were numerous, the rewards were well worth effort.
And now let me compare that to Dr. Jill Biden and play this clip.
But Donald Trump, he spent a lifetime tearing us down and devaluing our existence. He mocks women's bodies, disrespects our accomplishments, and brags about assault. Now he's bragging about killing Roe v. Wade. Just last night, he took credit again for enabling states like Georgia to pass cruel abortion bans that are taking away the right of women to make their own health care decisions. How far will he go? When will he stop? You know the answer. He won't. He won't. He said it himself last night in his own words. He's considering a national abortion ban. Donald Trump is dangerous to women and to our families.
How? I can't answer the how, but I can answer the what, which is what will we do? What will we do? I just pledge here at the Midas Touch Network to work every day tirelessly to talk about, even more than politics, these values of love and compassion and family and democracy, and just talk real, because the how is inexplicable, but the what we can do.
I like him. I'm subscribed to him. Him and his brothers are really good.
Our first guest tonight is an actor, writer, one of the great stand-up comics. Her Please and Thank You tour touches down in Milwaukee on Sunday. Please welcome Wanda Sykes.
Have one here. What is she, Wanda Sykes, on Trump winning the election and her message to young people?
Wanda, how are you?
You know it's going to be crazy.
Oh, hey, Jimmy.
I know you must be excited. Your guy Trump won the election. Congratulations.
Too soon, Jimmy.
Do you expect a cabinet position? I mean, what are you? How have you been able to digest this? Are you still in that shock mode?
Jimmy, I'm a black woman and a lesbian. How the hell you think I'm doing?
I think they call that 0 for 3.
Yeah, right, exactly.
What's your opinion of why it went this way? Why Americans voted the way they did?
Sometimes America is... I mean, there's reasons why you could say, it happened. But I think, a lot of us aren't like totally shocked, but it's like, okay, you get your hopes up and you think you move forward. And honestly, I blame those Cheerio commercials and showing all those interracial couples. You scared the out of white people. What are y'all doing? It's just cereal. Just sell the damn cereal. Why are you bringing us into this? They got gay couples selling.
Right?
Freaking sell your stuff. Don't bring us into this.
Cheerios. I knew they were responsible for something.
But I mean, the finger pointing and all, that's not really helping.
Yeah, what is the point of that?
Yeah, it's like, oh, it's your fault. It's your fault. It's it just happened. It is what it is. And I know it's like, well, white women didn't vote for him. I mean, didn't vote for her. So why is the majority of white women not voting for another woman? I'm like, y'all need to watch more Bravo. Why are you shocked I mean, have you seen
That's
The
about
Bachelor?
16, 17 minutes on good. I want a long one.
Apart.
I mean, you
Dude,
could give me
you know,
any.
so
I'll play
people
anything you
think,
have, babe.
You know, this wasn't gonna happen. Like the Real Housewives, I mean, they do the same thing. I mean, it's come on.
Of all the things Trump like latched onto and used during this campaign, which puzzled you? What thing puzzled you the most? Of the I don't even necessarily call them issues.
Oh God, I don't even know the most, but I mean, I know going after transgender, especially transgender kids, that was like that was good because here's the thing: you're supposed to be trying to fix the problems of America, right? So you target a community that's less than 1% of the population, right? So you're going after, you know, like affirming care as far as like the sex, and it's like, okay, so you're focusing on that, on sex change. It's like, how about focus on climate change that affects everybody instead of sex change that's like less than 1%. You know, and it's all fears like, oh, you know, your son goes to school as a boy and comes home a girl. I'm like, relax, it's a man bun. Shut up. It's a man bun. Relax.
If you can tap an underserved demographic, then you're doing your job. Exactly. Underserved demographic. They didn't tap in enough.
Yeah, I'm good.
Your wife is French. Your wife is from France and has citizenship there. Do you have citizenship there?
No, I do not have citizenship in France.
So that's not your kind of backup plan. He might leave the country.
This is so sour.
My ancestors got too much blood in this land. I ain't going nowhere. Nah. And here's the thing, I'm telling you right now, black women ain't having it right now. Okay, so give black women, give them a break right now. All right, we just chilling right now. So don't ask us dumb questions and stuff. Don't be, you know, like and with them puppy dog eyes, like, oh, sorry. You will get the left out of you.
Right. Black men, Latino men, sideline registered voters. Yes.
I asked to be home in my house shoes with a bonnet on my head. That's what I'm doing right now.
We need your advice. We need to know. So, okay, so now Thanksgiving is coming up. Is there anyone in your family that you're going to have a difficult night with? Any MAGA, any Trump voters or anything like that who you will have to see?
No.
No. Okay. Well, most people do have that, right?
Not my family. They better not say so.
Who does the cooking at Thanksgiving?
We all do. We all, you know, bring dishes and stuff. Like I had, you know, I used to do it all when when it was at my house. I would cook everything.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, your mother, when I was at a party at your house, your mother gave me advice to put my turkey on the grill because I had like 20 people coming to the house. I had this big ass turkey.
Yeah.
And she said, and I was like, I don't know if it's gonna fit my oven. And she said, put it on your grill. Just put it on your barbecue grill.
My mother gives very good advice to others. What actually happens in our house, though, is like at around 11 p.m., she'll remember she still has a ham in the oven.
Oh, boy.
That is now a shoe and not a ham anymore. So, she did give you that advice,
it was delicious.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Score one for my
Look at
mother.
Jimmy Kimmel talk about his
Let's take a
mom.
break. We'll come back. Wanda's got a big new comedy tour. More with Wanda Sykes when we come back. We are back with the great Wanda Sykes, who is on tour. The Please and Thank You tour. Why is it called the Please and Thank You?
Because I believe that we've gotten away from the social norms of please and thank you. You know, that's not how we, speak to each other anymore. So it's very important to me. Like that's how I determine my friendships. Like if I just met you and we go out to eat and the waiter comes by and everything and you don't say please and thank you for stuff, we ain't gonna be friends.
Yeah, that's a good indicator.
I'm not gonna have to spit my food too. Just to
talk about this?
Yeah, they want it. They want it. Yeah.
Come on, baby, get on it. I'm trying to see why this is not playing. Oh, I see. Okay, it is. This is it.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown. Glenn, the biggest news in the nomination space right now is that Matt Gaetz has been nominated by Donald Trump as Attorney General. So first and foremost, how seriously are you taking this nomination?
Not very seriously. You know, my $1 betting limit, Brian, I think I would put about 75 cents of my maximum bet on Gaetz' name being withdrawn. I don't even think he makes it to the confirmation hearings, but if he does, it will be a bloodbath, you know, based on some of what we know Gaetz has done and advocated for over his career. Now, I mean, I take it seriously because it sends a message to not only the good people of the United States, the good people of the Department of Justice and the world, that somebody who was investigated by the FBI for sex trafficking allegations. And, you know, even though it's important to add when we talk about the fact that he was investigated, that the Department of Justice never moved on to indicting him. What was part and parcel of that investigation? Well, a federal judge signed a search warrant. Why? Because there was evidence to support a probable cause showing that there was crime in Matt Gaetz' cell phone. So a federal judge signed a search and seizure warrant. This was no witch hunt of Matt Gaetz. So he is not exactly the kind of guy you want heading up the Department of Justice for lots of reasons. And we can talk about what those reasons are. But here is one of my main concerns, Brian. If he were ever sitting in the office of the Attorney General, I suspect one of the first things he might do is order that his underlings bring him his criminal file, all of the evidence that was amassed during the investigations of his alleged crimes. And what would he have access to? All of the names, all of the identifying information, all of the addresses of the witnesses who providing incriminating information about him. And then as Attorney General, he could use his powers to go after them. That is an enormous concern. He doesn't belong within 100 miles of the office of the Attorney General.
Now, think about the fact that he's been nominated. That means that there is a chance, and probably a better than 50% chance, that he does become the next Attorney General. No one's ever lost money betting against the fealty of this Republican Party to Donald Trump. He says jump, they say how high. And so most of them will say yes. So what are the collateral consequences of just this nomination being floated as far as the DOJ is concerned?
You know, it's funny, Brian, that may be the most damaging aspect of Donald Trump, you know, not nominating yet because he's not president. He can't officially nominate anybody, but of him naming his intent to nominate Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. There are about 110,000 employees at the Department of Justice, federal prosecutors, support staff, policy folks. You know, I know so many of them. They are my friends and former colleagues. I was at the department for more than 2 decades, and they are doing the hard work of the American people without regard to politics or ideology.
Right, a sexual predator for POTUS, and now nominating one for United States Attorney General.
Ethical manner, and I can promise you, the last thing these people would ever want to suffer is working for an Attorney General like Matt Gaetz. That would be demoralizing. Let me give you a little bit of my own personal background. I served continuously in the federal government as a federal prosecutor under every president from Reagan to Trump. And let me tell you, until Donald Trump and his corrupt Attorney General Bill Barr came to town, I never noticed any difference in the work I did, whether I was working under a Republican president or a Democrat. And they changed back and forth over the 30 years that I was a Fed, until Donald Trump and Bill Barr came in, corrupted and weaponized the Department of Justice, and frankly demoralized so many of us who, you know, lived and breathed the work of the Department of Justice. So here is my main concern. One of my main concerns when Donald Trump says, I intend to nominate Matt Gaetz. That will be so demoralizing and deflating and disheartening and depressing and other D words. Of the 110,000 employees of the Department of Justice that I fear, Brian, some of them may begin to self-select out of the Department of Justice, putting their resumes together, looking for other work. This can be for people who have been there 2, 3, 4 years, 10, 12 years, or 25, 30, 35 years. They may have said, I've had enough. I am not going to work under somebody like an Attorney General, Matt Gaetz. So, you know, we all know that Donald Trump, during his campaign,
Isn't calling someone a drama queen considered emotional validation?
The Department of Justice, drive good people out,
to me, it's
and put his own lapdogs,
yeah. I mean, to me, it's degrading.
And sycophants into the
That's
Department
someone
of
that's
Justice. There was this Schedule F proposal where he was going to get rid of a whole bunch of mid-level people.
It's just, to me, it's negative.
Populate the Department of Justice and other government agencies with Donald Trump loyalists. We've all heard of Project 2025.
I mean, it seems like it's just dismissing somebody
so
when
this may be
for how they're feeling,
that,
and so they're dismissing them and calling them a name instead of wanting to listen
or Project 2025
to what their issue is or whatever.
Now, let me give you the flip side of that coin. The people of the Department of Justice don't scare easy, and they will not go, quietly into Donald Trump's dictatorship. So I'm hopeful that they will weather this storm. And let me give you one more data point, Brian, a bit of a collateral consequence, but also just my take on Donald Trump saying, yeah, I think I'm going to make Matt Gaetz the chief law enforcement officer for the nation. Donald Trump has named multiple members of Congress from both the House and the Senate to positions in his administration. Marco Rubio, Elise Stefanik, and neither Marco Rubio nor Elise Stefanik resigned from Congress. But the very moment that Donald Trump said, I think I'm going to name Matt Gaetz, Matt Gaetz said, I resigned from Congress. Matt Gaetz was just reelected, Brian. So why would he be the only one instantly resigning from Congress? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Wait until your confirmation hearing. Make sure, it's a done deal before you resign after just having won an election. Well, some of our viewers may already know this, but even though the Department of Justice declined to prosecute Matt Gaetz for the allegations of sex trafficking, the House Ethics Committee conducted a full investigation of Gaetz' misconduct, and they're literally...
I think Trump did that to distract. What do you think, Mike? I think he just did that to distract the media?
There are rumblings. It's
to talk about something else?
Very damaging. However, if somebody resigns from Congress, guess what? The House Ethics Committee loses its jurisdiction over that person, and it can't issue the report. So this resignation after a Donald Trump announcement that he intends to make Matt Gaetz Attorney General may actually all be a ploy for Matt Gaetz to save face and say, I'm resigning from Congress, not because I'm trying to
resigning feels like an admission of guilt. Oh,
ethics report that is about to be delivered. But because I don't know what other reason he has offered for instance.
Because he's just that certain that he's going to be confirmed as AG, and so you might as well not even have his seat anymore. Let's just get at the work of being Attorney General.
That could be, and you're a more creative thinker than I am.
Well, look, I guess the first thing that I think is worth asking here is, does the DOJ ever not indict even if a crime has been committed? Because they opted not to indict him. Meanwhile, the House Ethics Committee, which, by the way, is led by Republicans, obviously felt so strongly that there was something to work with here that they kept this investigation going, and now we are seeing reporting that there is a highly damaging report set to be released, and so there's something there even as far as his own party is concerned. And so, what would explain the lack of definitive action by the DOJ?
A couple of things, Brian. It's not unusual. Take it from a 30-year career prosecutor. Crimes are committed quite often, and there is never a charge brought. Sometimes the crimes aren't solved. We don't know who the perpetrator is. Sometimes we have strong evidence of who the perpetrator is. However, we don't have enough admissible evidence in court to actually secure an indictment. Sometimes we have enough to secure an indictment, but we don't believe we have a reasonable likelihood of success on the merits. In other words, a guilty verdict at trial. So there is this sliding scale, and the evidence moves up as you make your way through the criminal justice process. This is from a prosecutor's perspective. So, he may very well have committed crimes. Indeed, what we know is that a federal judge ruled there was probable cause that Matt Gaetz had evidence of crime on his cell phone, and it was seized and it was searched. But there were some potential
Trump will pardon him once he's obviously
sentenced
sentenced
in the case, and the Department of Justice couldn't quite get to a point where they believed they had proof beyond a reasonable doubt such that they could win a conviction at trial. Not unusual in my experience that cases fall out along that sliding scale of evidence before they ever make it to trial.
Clint, to what extent do you think that Merrick Garland's focus on preventing even the optics of politicization played a part in maybe not bringing charges against Matt Gaetz? And I know this is a lot of conjecture now because we don't know what the evidence was, but we do know that Merrick Garland was very wary of seeming political one way or the other. I mean, it took how long for any action to be taken against Donald Trump before Merrick Garland even deigned to appoint a special prosecutor?
Yeah, it's been clear to me for a very long time that Merrick Garland and the Department of Justice fell down on the job in, trying to bring some timely accountability and justice to Donald Trump for ordering an attack on the Capitol to stop the certification of Joe Biden's election win, and the whole command structure underneath Donald Trump. Now, I'm not talking about what I call the boots of the insurrection, the folks that Donald Trump lied to about their vote being stolen and their election being rigged, and basically directed to go down, fight like hell at the Capitol. You won't have a country anymore. Now go stop the certification, stop the steal. Those people are being held accountable by the hundreds, indeed thousands, and that's important and that's necessary. But the whole sort of command structure, what I call the suits of the insurrection, some of them are being prosecuted by the states, but the Department of Justice never turned their attention to those folks, and for whatever reason, never, held them to account for the crimes that they inarguably committed. So now let's apply that to the Gaetz scenario. Here is what I have been hearing from sort of all of my sources about why the Gaetz prosecution may have fallen apart. And really, the focus should be on two things. One, I was involved in trying rape cases and child sex abuse cases in my years as a prosecutor. And the victims in the case, especially when you're talking about sex trafficking of, 16, 17-year-old girls, can be very challenging, particularly if, for example, the 17-year-old girl in this case, that is what the reporting was regarding Matt Gaetz' investigation, didn't view herself as a victim, didn't want to cooperate with authorities, wasn't willing to tell the truth. Yes, there are ways we can compel people to tell the truth, but it doesn't always work. And so I have heard that the person who would be the star witness, the victim in the case, was really not receptive to working with the prosecutors and move the case in the direction of an indictment and a trial. And then the second thing was the main cooperating witness, Joel Greenberg. I'll tell you what, when you have a cooperating witness who has done so much cruddy stuff, committed so many horrendous crimes, and then even after you bring them on board and you offer them a plea deal that involves them pleading guilty perhaps to a reduced charge or a reduced sentence in exchange for their truthful testimony at trial, and yet they continue to lie to the prosecutors even after striking that deal. This is some of the rumblings I was hearing. Sometimes
Biden would be better served if he could pass a bill that strips presidential immunity from a sitting president or for crimes committed during his administration.
Unfortunate combination.
He can still do a lot. So that's something that would be interesting to see what Biden's going to do.
Because they couldn't get him to consistently tell the truth. And when that happens, Brian, I can't put a cooperating witness like that on the stand and urge a jury to credit them, because we have a saying for those for that kind of a situation. The cooperator stink blows back on the prosecutor. So it may have been that perfect storm of bad facts and bad witnesses that led the Department of Justice to say, you know what, crimes were committed here, but we don't have enough evidence to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. Though a lot of this is me piecing, puzzle pieces together based on what I have learned over the years and a little bit of informed conjecture because I have seen cases kind of break this way previously.
Well, let me say a few things. The first is that I do hope
Since the election, Brian hasn't worn a
the
suit.
prosecutors who are working at the DOJ see this as an opportunity to act as a bulwark against the corrupt government, not as an excuse to leave. These are the very people who we need not to self-select out. The second is that I hope Republican senators find enough of a spine to recognize that this is probably the red line. This is probably one instance where it is okay to not show slavish devotion to the God King. When you have Matt Gaetz, who was under investigation by the very agency he's now seeking to lead, that's probably the moment at which it's okay to show some pushback to Donald Trump. And the third is, I know a lot of people watching, this has to do with all of us, basically. A lot of people are watching and figuring out where to expend our energy. I have cautioned against basically making everything a fight because I don't think everybody has the energy to make everything a fight the way that we did in 2017 and 2018, 2019. I think that we have to be a little more selective in terms of where we use our voices and which fights we have to organize around so that it doesn't feel like
even though I feel they're still not hitting the points that even I talked about.
This is one of
I
those
feel the
fights.
media
The
is
prospect
still
of
not
Matt Gaetz
hitting on
becoming
those
the Attorney
points.
General is absolutely
And
a red line that we should all speak out against.
it's like
and use our collective voices against. So,
they're
if you're
refusing.
wondering where we should.
It's like they're refusing to really hit on those points that what they're failing to understand. It's because when I have spoke up about the issues that Black people are talking about, that the media fails to understand that there is also Black persuasion. And I mean, we know what that means. So with Black persuasion means that people are missing the point that there is a lot of families who are mixed race families, beautifully blended families, who have an influence and an impact based on from their personal experience, how that family understands and will vote for somebody that understands. So if they're not hitting on and saying the B word, which is Black, then they're missing a whole big potential. Because why they're not going there? Because they still believe in their hearts and minds that if they talk about it, then they're concerned about losing more white people. What they're failing to understand is who we saw fighting for Kamala had nothing to do with losing the Black vote. I mean, let me start over. It had nothing to do with losing, the Black vote. It had everything to do with people not voting for Kamala because she's Black and a woman. I don't expect us to ever probably inspire and persuade that population, even the Black Republicans, to even vote for Democrats, period. Their minds are made up. So I feel we need to tap into that untapped potential in our party that's being neglected. And it's a lot that's being neglected. Whether if we have to sacrifice losing another year, that's not the intent. But until we can prove to those who are Democrats who did and still are sitting on the couch, then just like Trump did with his ratchetness, and he was able to tap into their feelings, how about tapping into people in our party who feels disenfranchised, who feels underserved? Bring them back to the forefront. So Michael Dunn says Biden would be better served if he could pass a bill. Okay, yes, I read that. I'm going to read it again. Pass a bill that strips presidential immunity from a sitting president or for crimes committed during his administration. Mm-hmm. And Mike Aldana says, I'm not sure if that would be helpful since the SCOTUS already made that ruling in Trump's favor. Right. I like this. If you have another one, let me know. If you wanted to play another one.
Come into the process, it is this. It might not be, look, Pete Hegseth, I think, is the luckiest person in Washington, D.C. right now because compared to Gates and Tulsi Gabbard and RFK Jr., that guy looks like Winston Churchill being nominated to Trump's cabinet. But I do think that in instances like this, where we have somebody like Matt Gaetz, who may be very close to taking over the Department of Justice, this is an instance where we should use our voices and make sure that we are all organized and calling this out, calling our lawmakers, calling our senators, and making our opinions heard on this matter. With that said, we will, of course, stay on top of this as soon as we have any updates. For those who are watching right now, if you want to make sure to follow along and to support our work, which becomes more and more important as we enter this long period of uncertainty, please make sure to subscribe. The links to both of our channels are right here on this screen. I'm Brian Teller Cohen.
And I'm Glenn Kirshner.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown.
You have another video? That sure did time go by fast, didn't it?
Level versus voting for Trump and the MAGA Republicans in the
It's
national
in the chat?
level. That's a very important delta, I think, that says a lot.
Okay, I played. I didn't get the other one. I just got one. Did you have another one? Okay. Yeah, there's just it looks like when Brian was saying how he's using going by a different angle on how to address these issues of how to go about the fight. I'm looking forward to Kamala and people coming together. Of course, they're not going to reveal it, but they're talking about it. And we got a lot of people that are going to fight against Trump, and there's a plan. Let's send it to you in email, okay? And I don't know why I didn't post, because I don't know why I didn't post in the thing there, because if you're you wearing a wrench, you should be able to post a link, but it's fine. So a lot of people have a lot to say. Okay, here it is. I got it. Thank you.
Joined now by Congressman Daniel Goldman. Thanks so much for taking the time. Thanks for having me again, Brian. So we just found out that Donald Trump had teased this idea while speaking to Republicans about the prospects of a third term.
And I know you sent me some an email. I haven't gotten to those other ones yet.
Exactly this topic. So first off, can you explain what this resolution says?
The resolution is pretty simple and straightforward. It recites a number of times where Donald Trump has referenced the possibility of him staying on as president or dictator for more than 2 terms. And after FDR served 4 terms or won 4 elections, the Constitution was amended with the 22nd Amendment that made it very clear that a president shall serve 2 terms and 2 terms only. So this resolution just reaffirms that the 22nd Amendment means the 2 terms, including in the aggregate, meaning non-consecutive terms, and it also says that it applies to Donald Trump. And this should be a no-brainer for anybody who cares about the Constitution.
Do you anticipate that Mike Johnson will even allow this to be brought up for a vote?
I have no idea. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't.
Well, I can think of one reason why he wouldn't want to bring this up for a vote.
Well, I'm sorry, you're right. I mean, Donald Trump is the reason that he would not do it, of course, because Trump, completely controls him, is a wholly owned subsidiary of this at this point. But when you look at the Constitution and you look at the law, it's so basic, it's so clear that there really is no reason why anyone who upholds an oath to the Constitution would ever vote against this. And so I think it would be a very important message for Speaker Johnson to send to Donald Trump and to everyone else that this Republican Congress, now that they are fully in control, is still going to adhere to the Constitution.
Well, the success of this resolution notwithstanding, can you, for posterity, explain what the 22nd Amendment does and whether, more importantly, there's any way for Republicans to be able to subvert it in deference to Trump?
Well, I'm certainly not going to try to come up with different ways. I mean, it is, as I mentioned, pretty straightforward in that it simply says that no president is allowed to serve more than 2 terms. And obviously it was passed ratified in 1951, shortly after FDR won 4 elections in a row before he passed away. And I think there are very good reasons for it. What you hear a lot from the Republicans is some cockamamie explanation that because there were investigations and impeachments into Donald Trump in his first term, that somehow that doesn't count as a first term.
What?
So, I don't know. I would respond to them in their own vernacular that, well, that may be if that is the case, you say that he won the 2020 election, so he already had another term.
Correct. Yeah. With that said, what is the process? Because I know folks are going to be wondering about that. They're going to look at the 22nd Amendment, and even if it is respected, what is the process for amending or withdrawing that amendment? What does that process look like?
Well, you have to change the Constitution, which is an onerous task, requires 2/3 of the House and the Senate and 3/4 of state legislatures.
Change the Constitution
in order to do that. I mean, that's the most common way. And that's not going to happen. So it's not that the Constitution
don't say it's not going to happen.
It's that somehow Donald Trump would make an argument adopted by Republicans who, as I said, are wholly owned subsidiaries of him, that it doesn't apply to him either because it's non-consecutive terms or because of the bogus explanation for the first term. And effectively, he would overrule the Constitution, undo our democracy, and become a dictator.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the thing I was kind of going to get at, if I can go full cynic for a moment, which to a degree might be warranted. But there is this idea that our laws and our norms are only as strong as our government's own willingness to enforce it. And so is there some degree of worry, at least among you folks?
Yeah.
I mean, if anybody understands the threats to democracy, it is the House Democrats, right? It's the Democratic Conference in the House and the Senate. So is there any worry that kind of the party-wide apparatus, at least on the right, is so blindly deferential to Trump that they will put him above any adherence to the Constitution itself?
You raise a really, really important point, especially now that it looks like the Republicans are not only going to have the presidency in Donald Trump, but also have the majority in the Senate and the House. They have full control of all 3 bodies of government. And so if our Constitution and our democracy is going to survive someone like Donald Trump, who has already tried to undermine it in his first term and has made it very clear that his intentions are much more devious in his second term, it's going to have to come in part from Republicans who have the responsibility of governing, who have taken an oath to the Constitution, not to Donald Trump, and who are going to have
The
to
thing
stand
is, who
up
is
to
MAGA
his worst
and
instincts to
and,
make sure that we continue to have a functioning
the Senate and the
democracy
House,
based on the
you
rule
know?
of law, and that where checks and balances and our Constitution prevails.
Do you think there's an appetite among those people from what you've seen, from the conversations that you've had, and also on the flip side, knowing the mandate that he has, given the fact that he's improved his lot among, across the country in all demographic groups, and loyalty or fealty to him was basically the litmus test in this election. Do you think there's going to be an appetite for people in the Republican Party to serve as something of a bulwark against him, against his worst instincts, I should say?
I think there is very little appetite in the House, and we
Right.
saw that in this Congress that we're still serving in, the 118th, because the Freedom Caucus, the extreme right, the MAGA Republicans completely controlled the House. There traditionally have been more thoughtful, measured Republicans in the Senate, where there are 6-year terms and you're not up for re-election every 2 years. And so I certainly think that even though Trump has more control over the Senate, there are institutionalists, there are people who recognize that their legacy is also on the line here. And I think a lot of Republicans are going to be faced with a question that they have not yet been faced with. And when people face decisions, rather than hypotheticals, they often have different answers. But that question is going to be, what do you want your legacy to be? Do you want to be someone
I don't think they're going to care. I think most Republicans are going to go Republican.
Undermine our democracy, overrule our Constitution, and turn this country into a banana republic, because that's
what they're going to want.
And that's part of the reason why Mike Johnson ultimately moved forward with Ukraine aid, is he understood the intelligence.
We know who the major players are with the MAGA party, but it still remains as to else will fall in the line of abide by the U.S. Constitution.
And all of the other Republicans are going to be faced with a similar or many similar questions in this upcoming
we see what the majority of the country wants.
Segue into what a lot of
they're going to feel that they're representing what their country, what their voters want.
Either voting for or against someone like Matt Gaetz for Attorney General. Can I have your initial reaction to the news that Trump's nominated Gaetz as AG?
It's pretty remarkable. I like to say that nothing surprises me about Donald Trump after I've spent 5 years as really immersed in standing up to him. But this one really stretches the limits of imagination.
People who are being interviewed are dumbfounded and thrown.
In the Congress
and if it's a game that they're playing,
a serious criminal investigation of
as usual, it's a very vicious game.
Sleeping with underage women and traveling out of state.
Very vicious game
with them, among perhaps other things. And so the idea that you would put somebody who clearly has such a vendetta against the Department of Justice in control of the Department of Justice, someone who is so unserious, someone who is so unqualified,
conflict of interest,
is scary. But Matt Gaetz is not the only one, Brian. I mean, you see Gabbard now, who was nominated to oversee the entire intelligence community, and there are many, many people who believe that Tulsi Gabbard is either a witting or unwitting agent of Vladimir Putin.
Oh,
and now she's
yeah, sure is.
Intelligence community. It is.
I forgot about that.
Who's a Fox
she
News
is an
host,
agent of Putin.
An able service member in Iraq and Afghanistan. I'm not trying to take anything away from his service, but certainly unqualified to be the Secretary of Defense. And these are Donald Trump loyalists through and through, and that's what he wants. Unlike
Gabbard is
the
a
John
Putin.
Kellys,
Sure
the Rex
is.
Tillersons, the Jim Mattises, the people
I
that he
remember
hired
seeing her
in his
during the
first
January
term
6th
who
investigation.
were competent and
Her name
qualified
kept
and
coming
put
up.
guardrails around him. The only qualification right now to be nominated as someone in Donald Trump's cabinet or other
working
White
for
House
Putin
is undying loyalty to Donald Trump. And the reason why that's so scary is that we know he has no respect for the rule of law. He has no respect for the Constitution. And he will ask those people to do things that violate the law, that violate the Constitution, that undermine our democracy. And whereas last time around, they resisted in people in those positions, this time around, he is trying to ensure that nobody will resist him.
Can you talk for a moment about the importance of recess appointments and how Donald Trump can subvert the advice and consent process that the Senate will rely on?
So if there's a law that if the Senate is in recess for 10 days or more, a president can make an appointment during that recess that can last, I think, up to 2 years. I'm not exactly sure, but it can effectively install someone in an appointed position without the Senate's confirmation process. Traditionally, the Senate, under both parties' control, has never allowed a recess to go for 10 days. So that
Trump's putting loyalty over
president
qualified
cannot
candidates.
use that,
Exactly. And key
subverting
cabinet
of the
positions,
Senate's
because he
advice and
knows they're
consent
going to do
responsibility
everything
and
he
cannot
wants,
get around
right?
Senate confirmation.
Wow.
And that is true for Republican Senates and Republican presidents and Democratic Senates and Democratic presidents. The Senate understandably values that responsibility very highly. So the pressure that Donald Trump is trying to put on, and now I think we're coming to see why with the nominations of Matt Gaetz and Tulsi Gabbard, is to put pressure on the new Senate Majority Leader, John Thune, to
Recess
change
appointments.
the rules of the Senate to allow for recesses of 10 days or longer, which would then allow Donald Trump to install his nominees in what's called a recess appointment without having to get confirmation from the Senate.
Right.
Now, it is not right now the practice and the rule of the Senate. So they would have to change that to allow for that. And that's why you're reading about all the pressure that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are putting on the senators, which did not seem to come to bear in the Senate Majority Leader race because John Thune, who's an institutionalist in the Mitch McConnell mold, won, not Rick Scott, who seemed to be the preferred candidate of Donald Trump.
And let's finish off with this. I know more broadly, even among Democrats, among myself, and I'm sure to a degree you and your colleagues as well in the House, there's a lot of exhaustion and a sense of despair or discouragement. What's your message to folks who are looking at the road ahead, even including moments just like today, where we find out that Matt Gaetz may very well be the top law enforcement official in the United States, that Tulsi Gabbard, somebody who's aligned with the Kremlin, may very well be in charge of national intelligence?
I remember her.
What's your message to folks in terms of?
I know they say she's aligned, but I heard
to
that she
stay
did
engaged,
work
how to
for
stay involved,
Putin.
and not just check out.
Well, it's a great question, and I have spent the last 5 years trying to stand up to Donald Trump and the Republicans, from the first impeachment when I led the investigation, all the way to now toward the end of my first term in Congress. I certainly did not want to spend the next 2 to 4 years of my life pushing back against Donald Trump's worst instincts and trying to continue this quest to preserve and protect our democracy. But this is the hand we're dealt, and it is going to get worse. And what I would urge everyone to do is that I understand the temptation.
They're telling us it's going to get worse.
TV, to put your head under a pillow.
They're telling us
hope
this.
it goes away.
It's going to get worse.
The Democratic Party that stands for
This is not.
democracy are going to be in the minority and are going to effectively be powerless in Washington, D.C. Our power.
This is not just bringing fear.
From the American
He
people,
said it.
rising up, making their voices heard, objecting to the lawlessness, the anti-democratic moves and decisions of Donald Trump. And that what we need more than anything is the opposite of putting your head under a pillow. We need everybody to lean in.
There he goes. I mean, this is a cry here. This is a desperate cry that he's making.
It will make a difference to a lot of members of Congress, especially, even if it doesn't make a difference to Donald Trump. And ultimately, we can work together to force Republicans to put a check on Donald Trump to preserve our democracy. But it is going to require all
everybody.
of us, and I'm happy
and
to
they're
be
not going to do it.
leading the fight, and I intend to do so.
See, he says leading the fight. Everybody's talking about the fight.
Yeah, and I would argue that the only reason we have the ACA
I've
today
heard
is
words
because
like
of
this
the
before,
immense amount of
and
pressure
people
that
don't
Americans
play with
put
that
on
word.
Republicans and folks like John McCain in 2018 and in the lead up to that election. I would also argue that we were in a similar position, the same position virtually in 2016.
This is a fight that's
and
beyond
within 2
just
years,
as simple
we would
as
usher
being
in the biggest House
as
majority
political.
in American history into the
It's
House.
not just
and
political.
2 years later, full control of government, House, White House, and Senate. So
this is
It's
worse.
going to be a long road ahead, but I appreciate the work you're doing and you being in this fight here, Congressman. Thank you for taking the time.
You too, Brian. Thanks for having me.
This is worse. I mean, these are words that are not okay. Well, I'm running for office, so this is the language I'm going to say. If you have another one, just let me know. Okay, I'll go in and play something, but let me know. You got. Okay, well, I'm signing off. Thank y'all so much, and I'll see you all. Have fun. Thank you so much. And we'll check back in again tomorrow. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. This is Rhonda's Lovely Sparks, and I'll see you soon.